Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Talk Radio.
Thank you, Jake. Good evening, dear listener. We had a really nice geeky retro game chat last week. We're going to speak to someone, an expert, a little bit later on. We'll go through the papers. We'll ease you into the week, shall we? 0344 499 1000. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
This is a special moment right now. We'd like to take this time to tell all the kids at home, send your parents out of the room. This is a kid's song. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up. It sucks pretty bad right now. Hey, if you know the words, sing along. You're gonna have to mow the lawn, do the dishes, make your bed. You're gonna have to go to school until you're 17. It's gonna seem about 3 times as long as that. You might have to go to war, shoot a gun, kill a nun. You might have to go to war when you get out of school.
Hey, cheer up, kids, it gets a lot worse.
You're gonna have to deal with stress, deal with stress, deal with stress. You're gonna be a giant mess when you get back from the war.
Santa Claus does not exist and there's no Easter Bunny. You'll find out when you grow up that Big Bird isn't funny.
Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up. It sucks pretty bad right now. You're gonna end up smoking crack on your back, face the fact. You're gonna end up hooked on smack and then you're gonna die. And then you're gonna die.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You're more than welcome. Late nights with Iain Lee. No Twitter this evening. I'm going to tweet links to the show throughout the show, but I'm going to try an experiment this week, dear listener, an experiment where I'm not going to respond to or read or reply to any tweets I get during the show. I'm not even going to read the tweets during the show. We've got someone coming on later on who's going to talk about an event they're doing. I shall tweet links for that. I shall tweet on the hour that we've still got another 2 hours or another hour to go, and you can watch us on Periscope or you can listen on the website. I'll tweet that. I'm not even going to look at the replies. Because I am wondering if some of you are thinking you don't need to phone in because you've tweeted me. And I may be completely wrong on this. I'm really hoping we get a lot of phone calls this week. I'll tell you what, I've got really bad mouth ulcer. I mean, I've never had one so painful. And it's at the front. In my gum, and it's absolute agony. I've got some Bonjela. They've done something to the formula of Bonjela, whereby it now sticks. It didn't used to stick before, but now it sticks. So I shall apply some Bonjela a bit. But honestly, it is agony to talk, and I keep finding myself slurring my words a little bit because my mouth is trying to compensate for the fact that I mean, it's really painful. So I'm hoping you guys call in. And I am wondering, the fact that I read out tweets and the fact that I respond to tweets during the show, I wonder if that is encouraging some people not to call in or discouraging people from calling in because they feel that they have had their say by sending me a tweet. So I'm not going to look at them. I'm not even going to look at them. Not even going to look at them for the whole week. Now, I don't think it will have any impact on tonight's show. I don't think it will have any impact on Tuesday's show. It might have a slight impact, barely noticeable, on Wednesday's show. But if I've got this right, by Friday, our call ratio will be up significantly. I've just got this idea in my head that by Friday, the call ratio will have gone up. ever so slightly. So, with that in mind, no tweets, 0344 499 1000. Now, I am planning... I've had an idea in my head. It's really geeky. It's really, really anarchy. And I don't want to say what it is, in case I can't pull it off. I'm some way towards pulling some of it off. I need to make a few phone calls, and I need to speak to a few more people. I've got a couple of people on board. But I've just got an idea in the back of my head for something that might be quite nice for the geeks out there. Is that okay? Good. I need your help on it, though. And I'm going to say something now, and some of you go, oh, he's not planning that, is he? Don't jump to conclusions. But. Does anyone know where I can find the following two gentlemen? I've looked in all the usual places, and I've not been able to find them. These names will mean nothing to a lot of you. One of them will mean something to some of you, and the other will mean something to about 4 of you. But I'd really, really, really like your help in tracking these two gentlemen down. The first gentleman is Scott Chisholm. The second gentleman is Wild Al Kelly. Scott Chisholm and Wild Al Kelly. Scott Chisholm, I think, now works in media training politicians. I think he worked with Alistair Darling and possibly Nick Clegg. Possibly, I'm not totally sure. But the last trace I have of him is from 2011. I haven't got anything more recent. Wild Al Kelly dropped off the face of the earth. Completely disappeared. If you can help me find these people, I'd really appreciate it. You can give me a call, 0344 499 1000. This is an ongoing project that will take, I reckon 3 weeks so you can, there is no immediate rush. You can email me, Iain, IAIN, @iainlee.com. Okay? If you know where either of those gentlemen are and how I can reach them, it's just an idea that I had on Sundays. I was driving to the Rabbit Hole. And by the way, thank you to everyone who came to the Rabbit Hole last night and watched on Periscope and called in. The most successful evening we've had by a country mile. And I met up with Kath before it, and I said, you know what, Kath, I'm thinking maybe we knocked this on the head. Maybe we've done, it was a good idea, and it feels like it's running out of steam. Maybe we've done all we can. And then we went and did it was an incredible show. Someone described it as weaving gold out of thin air. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was the audience that were there and were prepared to get stuck in. And it was the brilliant callers we had. If you don't know what the Rabbit Hole is, it's a podcast that me and Catherine do. And it's a phoning show recorded in front of a live studio audience. And we recorded about 2.25 hours last night. That's 4 shows worth. We recorded the next month of shows worth. And I had a chat with Kath and I said, well, let's see how it goes tonight, but maybe we should knock it on the head. And it went incredibly well. People were laughing at us as we said things. People were getting involved. The audience chipped in and people phoned in, and some randoms phoned in. And someone had brought their mum for Mother's Day, and she got up and co-hosted about 10 minutes of it. And it was hilarious. It was a really good night. And we're doing the show in Manchester on May the 6th. And then this morning I had an email from a lovely lady called Zena. And she's invited me and Kath to appear at the Manchester Fringe Festival in July. So we're going back to Manchester in July, which is incredible. I'll give you details of that later in the week. Okay. But so we're in Manchester on May the 6th, and then we're in Manchester towards the end of July, which is fantastic. Isn't it funny? We were just thinking, we should knock it on the head. And then we get given all of these things. Simon, I'll come to you in a bit, I promise. And you, Alan, 0344 499 1000. And also, me and Kath are looking at taking this show and the Rabbit Hole to New York for a week. For no reason other than we'd like to do the show from New York for a week. And I've spoken to a friend of mine, Amanda, who works at a radio station in New York, and asked if we might be able to use their studios for a week. And she says, well, it's not up to me, but it has happened in the past. Let me speak to the boss. And I also said, well, what are the chances of us simulcasting on your station and talk radio? She said, well, again, it's not up to me, but I'll ask the boss. So the plan would be for me and Catherine to go to New York, do this show from New York, hopefully with New Yorkers listening and calling in. And we'd spend the day vox popping people, so going around Times Square and Central Park and speaking to people, and also hopefully go and secure a few big names out there. I know Steve Guttenberg lives in New York and he's a friend, so if he's there and he's not filming, we'll go and... So that's the plan, and we might go and do a rabbit hole out there in front of 20 bemused Americans. And the thing is, it's very unlikely our bosses are going to pay for it. Oh, you know, I'll have a word with Denny, see if we can tap him for a couple of £100, but it's very, very unlikely. But please don't worry. This isn't me softening you up for the inevitable, it would appear these days. Well, me and Kath really want to go to New York and work for a week, but guys, if you love the show, could you donate to us now? We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. Well, ask the boss if we can get a couple of £100. I doubt we will. But me and Kath will pay for it ourselves. We're not going to ask you to pay for our jolly to America. Imagine that. Imagine. Because it's only 3 hours a day, right? Imagine we're going to go to New York for 3 hours and work for 3 hours. It'd be a bit more if we go out and interview people. Could you pay for it, please, dear listener? Could you dip into your pockets and pay for it? No, I could probably pay for it without bragging. If we did it economy and went cheap and flew cheap and got somewhere cheap, I reckon a week's wages, a couple of weeks' wages would cover it. I'm not going to ask you for money. Ridiculous. It's a jolly. It's an absolute jolly we've been going on. So that's hopefully happening in the future. But, if you know Scotchism, if you know Wild Al Kelly, if you know of their whereabouts, could you get in touch and let me know, please? Because I've just got an idea. It's a stupid idea. It's a really dumb idea. And do you know what? Quite often the dumb ideas are the best ones. It may not work, and it's going to involve a little bit of, magic on mine and Catherine's part. But we'll see. If you do know of their whereabouts, Iain@iainlee.com, or you can give me a call, 0344 499 1000. There's loads in the papers. I've got loads to talk about, and I'm not conversing with you on Twitter. So if you want to phone up, you can. Simon and Alan are waiting there, and I'll get to them in a minute, I promise. But if you want to take part in the show, you're going to have to call in tonight, guys. Simple as, okay? 0344 499 1000. We call you back. Don't forget to tip your Radar Diaries. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
There's a fella that emails in every single night, listens every single night. Emails in from a fake email address, Dave C. Fake email, fake name. I love it. Iain Lee and Catherine Boyle are the biggest middle-class, politically correct libtard snowflakes that work in the media at the moment. Both ugly and boring. I love it. Simon came on first. Good evening, Simon.
Hi, Ian. How's it going?
It's going very, very well, mate. Very well. What have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed, Ian.
Uh-oh.
I think I've upset some people on the Talk Radio listeners page, and
Right.
It was accidental.
Uh-oh.
And I'm just basically, I've been blocked.
Right.
I've been blocked on there.
Didn't you phone me in and tell me this last week?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
maybe a regular occurrence then, I don't know.
What did you say to cause offence?
Well, I didn't say anything. Listen, Ian, it was basically, I may have misjudged a situation a little bit.
I don't really care.
Well, yeah, in the case of, basically last week,
yes,
when there's sort of horrible incidents happened, in London, I on Photoshop I put Julia Hartley-Burrett as Godzilla, on Westminster Bridge.
Well, hang on a minute.
You know.
First of all, it's Westminster Bridge. Secondly, that's a little bit tasteless, Simon.
It's tasteless. No, I agree it's tasteless.
So that's probably, I'm guessing, I don't know, because it's nothing to do with me, that's probably why they booted you.
Exactly.
For being a bit of an arsehole.
Well, yeah, but it was on a day, the picture was not from that day, it was just a normal,
I mean, what, did you do it on the day of the incident?
It was on the evening.
Oh, mate, well, why did you do that?
Just being daft. Having a bit of a silliness.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. But you know that people died there, right?
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
So what? So where's the joke?
It's not a joke, and that's what I'm saying. I was actually going to delete it from the page.
Well, but you didn't. You actually. How long did it take you to make?
5 minutes.
Why? Why did you make it? Why did you? Why did you make? Right, two things. Right. First, got two questions. Question one.
Yeah.
Why did you make it?
We were just playing around in Photoshop, as you do.
Yeah. But why did you make? Why did you decide to make that image?
I don't know.
Well, think.
I know. I didn't sort of.
Why did you decide to make that image?
I don't know really. I know it's
right. Okay. Question one failed. Yeah. Question two. Why did you then decide to share it on a Facebook Facebook page?
Because, someone sort of dared me to do it.
So it was a dare. So the very fact it was a dare meant that you knew that people would be offended by it.
No, I didn't mean for any offence.
Well, hang on a minute. Then why would it be a dare if you didn't think any offence would be caused?
Because we didn't think anyone would actually. Well, I put it purposely on the Talk Radio listeners page because I didn't think anyone would see it, and I was going to delete it straight away.
What do you mean you didn't think anyone would see it? You go on there and you see that there are people posting on there. I don't get it. I don't get the joke. I don't get why you did it, and I certainly don't get why you're phoning me up.
Because I was basically going to ask to be unbanned from the page.
It's nothing to do with.
I do like Talk Radio listeners. I am a Talk Radio listener.
Well, go and talk to them. It's got absolutely nothing to do with me, Simon.
I know, but they listen to your show, don't they? So I was basically going to use your show to ask them, because I know they listen to you, just to sort of...
well, what's the next thing? You're going to put a picture of Chuck Norris at the Bataclan?
No.
What's your next thing going to be?
I don't do this stuff normally. It was just a stupid, daft thing. Like I was clowning on. It also had John Holmes on a deck chair on the bridge with an owl on his lap. And his producer dressed as Rambo. It was just a silly, daft thing.
I just think when there's been a terrorist attack, even if it's a small one made by an absolute bellend, that
yeah, exactly.
I'm yellow carding myself there because that's twice I've gone into category C's. Yellow carding, and what's your language? But I don't get why you did it.
It was more of just to take. Everyone had such a horrible day. It was just a sort of a little bit of a. Here's a random picture of some.
Well, it wasn't. But no. It wasn't random though, was it? You chose Julia Hartley Brewer and you chose that bridge, so it wasn't random.
And it was John Holmes as well on a deck chair.
Yeah, so it wasn't random. They were chosen. No. They were selected.
Well, no, Julia Hartley Brewer was random. It was.
Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. So if it was random, it would be an avocado, or it would be a piece of paper, or it would be a crab. But you chose Julia Hartley Brewer, so that's.
The thing started off with John Holmes on a deck chair on the bridge.
Doesn't matter how it started. People don't look at a picture and go, "Well, I wonder what he put there first."
I know.
So it wasn't random. It was deliberate.
The thing came in at the end. Actually, that was the last little thing.
I couldn't care less about the ordering of it.
No, I know. Well, what I'm saying, the only reason I was just basically saying, yes, I understand it is silly.
No, but it's not silly. To some people, that would be
very
offensive.
Insensitive. Very, very, very insensitive. Very insensitive indeed, and I appreciate that. Now I didn't actually I don't think I fully looked at it, at the time. We were all just trying to sort of, I don't know, try and make some sort of light of a situation, which obviously is a horrible situation.
Well, but I mean, listen, the picture doesn't particularly offend me, but I'm not in charge of that Facebook page, and I can understand why other people would be offended. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's creative. I think it's dumb. I don't find it offensive. But I just don't understand what the gag. I don't know. I don't understand any of this call.
There wasn't a gag. It was just daftness.
Okay.
And I was basically just going to ask if any of the people listening.
Well, you'll have to tell you what, Simon. You'll have to have a word with them, mate, because I'm not making this like a pen pal section of the show. Where can you pass a message on to the people that run the Facebook page, please? I'm really sorry for putting that picture up. I won't do it again if they let me back on. It's nothing to do with me, you know. You might as well say, well, I went round to Kath's house and she wouldn't let me in. It's nothing to do with me. You know, I went to Buckingham Palace, see the Queen. I wasn't allowed in. It's nothing to do with me. I don't know why you phone in. But thanks for calling. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Evening, Alan.
Evening, Ian.
You sound very sombre.
Well, I've had some bad news with the flat.
Go on.
It's been flooded.
With what? Semen?
No water.
Oh, well, that's something. That's something.
Well, it came from the flat above.
Oh, it came in through the bathroom window. I bet you haven't got insurance, have you?
Unfortunately, Robert wants to talk to you because he's got an update.
What?
Well, Robert wants to talk to you because he's got an update.
Okay, well, I'm talking to you. Have you got insurance?
Unfortunately not.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I mean, so how much damage? Have you got any insurance? Like contents or buildings or anything?
Well, with a housing association.
Oh. So they'll fix up the wet ceiling and the wet floor?
We've got to replace the whole carpet, the living room carpet, and the toilet bathroom.
Well, it sounds like... Do you know what, Alan? This could work in your favour. You're going to get new carpet.
Yeah? But like I say, Robert's not happy with the housing association.
Oh, gosh.
And he wants to talk to you about it.
Why is everyone telling me stuff that really isn't any of my concern? Okay, Alan.
Because you helped with Jerry.
Well, okay, well, I'm not... yeah, okay. Well, let me speak to Robert.
He said he was going to call you.
Oh, jeez.
Come on, call in.
Well, only if you want to.
He said he was going to.
Well, there's nothing I can do.
You can pull some strings.
What strings do I have with Birmingham Council?
No, it's for the Toilet Housing Association.
Oh, no, I've got loads of strings with them. What strings can I pull?
Tell them to get their finger out and do the repairs quickly because they're not doing the repairs.
When did it happen?
Well, the first time I knew about it was when I came back to the flat last Thursday to check the post.
Right. Hang on a minute. How often do you stay at the flat?
Well, I was at my mum and dad's for a couple of days.
How often do you stay at the flat that the housing association are kind enough to give you?
5 nights a week.
Now, are you saying that because you have to stay that to keep the flat?
No, I'm saying that anyway.
Okay. When are they going to fix it?
They haven't said.
Right. When did you...
I've had someone come to assess electricity today.
Right.
And the electric's fine, apart from the hall line, which was still a bit wet.
Right.
And they said, leave it for a couple of days for it to dry out.
Yeah, that's good advice with electrics. Well, the thing is, the council are involved, they're doing it, and you've got somewhere to stay until they do it.
It's not council property, it's housing association.
Okay, the same... So the housing association are involved...
Yeah, but
and you've got...
they're not going to repair it.
So they're not going to repair what?
But they haven't given me a date on when they're going to replace the carpet.
Well, hang on a second. So you just said they've said they're not going to repair it, and then
they haven't given me a date.
Well, that's a completely different thing. You can't say they've said they're not going to repair it.
Robert's not very happy with them.
Well, I couldn't give a stuff what Robert thinks. You've got somewhere to stay, Alan. It's annoying, and it's bad luck, but. I'm sure they will repair it at some point, and you've got somewhere to stay. But a lot of people in that situation...
But they're going to give me the bill to pay for the damage, because they probably think it's my fault.
Well, if you can prove that it came from the flat above, then they won't.
Even the engineers said it came from the flat above.
Well, then...
Because I knew the guy who was living there, and he classed it as a suicide attempt.
Sorry?
He tried to kill himself. That's why the water came down to my flat in the first place.
Right.
He tried to kill himself.
Right, OK, this is all getting, what? They'll fix it. And they won't bill you, I wouldn't have thought.
Right.
And you can stay at your mum and dad's.
Yeah, but my mum and dad are not very well, and I can't keep relying on them forever.
Well, no, this isn't going to... they're not going to... I would doubt they're going to die in the next 3 months.
But look, I don't know what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. It will drag on a bit longer than you want it to, but they'll replace the carpet and the wallpaper if they need to, and if the electrics need doing, they'll do that.
Well, let's hope so.
Well, no, they will.
Yeah, but it's just a question of when they're going to do it.
Yes, it is, but they'll do it, and you've got somewhere you can stay in the meantime. It's not convenient, it's a hassle, but that's a better position than somebody else might be in that situation.
Right.
Yes, well, I'm glad we've sorted that out. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Craig and CJ, I'll come to you in a bit. Bit busy first 30 minutes of calls that have nothing to do with me at all. Don't forget to tick your radio diaries. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. In olden days when times were hard, we filled the barrel with water. We added brine from Preston pan, then stripped our son and daughter. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. Hold the barrel steady, then jump in one at a time. We stuck an apple in their mouth and stood them on a chair. And then we sat down for our tea and left them standing bare. Hold the barrel steady, then jump in one at a time. Hold the barrel steady, then jump in one at a time. Now in you go, our children, they did as they were bid. Their heads below the water and fastened on the lid. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. We shed some tears, be sure of that. Our stomachs were like lead. We'd better have some more, she said, then we went off to bed. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. So if your purse is empty, your cupboard it is bare, just pull the clothes right off your bairns and stand them on a chair. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. Hold the barrel steady and jump in one at a time. One at a time, one at a time, one at a time.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I'm in a mischievous mood this evening. Hey, I was really disappointed. Me and Kath were hard prepping the show. And I wanted to go online and play some dominoes. And I was reminded that about 13, 14 years ago, I used to play dominoes on Yahoo Games. So I thought, and it was nice. There was nothing flashy about it. It was a very straightforward interface. You could chat with people all around the world, generally Americans, but you could chat with people. It's very simple, no flashing lights, no gold tokens to collect, none of that. So I went to Yahoo, and I couldn't find it. I could find groups, I could find mail, I couldn't find Yahoo Games, and I tried yahoo.com, and it wasn't there. So I Googled it. They closed Yahoo Games May last year. They closed Yahoo Games. What's the world coming to? I just wanted a nice, quiet game of dominoes and a little chat window so I could chat to whoever it was and ask them who they were and where they were from. Because I had some really interesting conversations with some people in America. It was mainly middle-aged women and old men. So you'd be like, I say middle, I mean sort of American women sort of in their mid-40s to mid-50s, and men sort of 65 plus. And I had some wonderful conversations about nothing. About where they were, what they did, why they were up, because we'd be playing at funny hours, because I would be, because it was playing UK time, and I can't remember the names of any of them, that there was nothing significant that was ever discussed, and it's gone. Yahoo Games has gone. Now, admittedly, partly because people like me haven't logged in for 12 years. So the effort I went to this evening to try and find a game of dominoes online. And I ended up at this ridiculous site with the most annoying music playing. And Kath in the end told me to stop it, because I was singing along and I was making up rude words, and then I was singing the song, and and there was no easy chat facility. You had to subscribe to chat. Oh God, I just wanted to. And then when the game finished, you didn't get the option of, would you like to challenge them again? You just went off and found another random person. And it told you what piece you had to put where. It was awful. So, I was really disappointed by that. I really wanted to have a nice, quiet. It used to be really quiet, slow, few hands of dominoes, and a little chat. How's it going? Whereabouts are you? Oh, Atlanta. Never been there. What's that like? I'm in London. Yeah, no, it's all right. No, that was miles away from us. No, I weren't near there. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. Didn't get the option. And I kind of had a look online for online gaming, and it's all pow, 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 pow. Even like the card games, pow, 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 pow. Pop-ups everywhere. Subscribe, links. Do you want to buy gold coin? No. Spin the wheel, scratch card. I know, I want to play dominoes. And then I thought, I like a game of Uno. You know the card game Uno? I love a bit of Uno. Love it. If you've not got Uno, it's brilliant. You can get it for like $5, pack of Uno cards. It's great. It's great. And it's good because it works on several levels. And you can play it with kids of like, my 5-year-old has just grasped Uno. Now he can recognise different numbers. He's just grasped it. So I would say from about maybe 4, if you've got, a smart kid, but from about 4 upwards, you can play it. But then if you're playing it with adults, it can become a little bit mean. And there's a little bit more skill involved. It's great. I love it. And so I was trying to find a website where I could play Uno against Kath. I couldn't find anything. I found a few, and you had to log in and register, and then you got an email, and then you go in, and you get put with random people, or I suspect I was being put with computers made to look like random people, but I couldn't invite her into a room. And then someone said, go on Facebook. If you go on Facebook, you can play Uno there and invite people. And we spent 40 minutes trying to set it up on Facebook and then invite each other into an Uno game. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. It wasn't happening at all. In the end, I downloaded the Uno app. Uno! Used to play it on the Xbox. Boy, the stuff I saw then, flipping heck. Seriously. But used to, but downloaded the, don't think you can get it on the Xbox anymore. Downloaded the app on the phone, so I was playing it on the phone. But again, they're trying to make it too flashy, and I don't think you can choose who you play with. You're put with random people. Hey, here's a thing, and I saw this online, and I got distracted by something bright and shiny elsewhere. Am I right? This is the point where you can phone in. Okay, this now has become a phone-in topic. 0344 499 1000. There's an Uno movie, isn't there? I know. There is, as far as I'm aware, an Uno movie. Or at least I read a thing that said there was an Uno movie, but maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was a joke. Have you seen it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I saw it, I thought, that's stupid. Then I thought, actually, that could be quite good, because Uno can get mean. Uno can get very, very vicious. Have you seen it? Do you know what I'm talking about? 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. I'm saying that. We've got loads of calls lined up. CJ, Craig, Philip, I will come to you in a bit. Time for another break. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. Don't forget to tick your radar diaries. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
The wild man of late night radio is back.
Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Evening, Philip.
Good evening, Ian. I heard something interesting today, and I thought you might find it interesting too.
Okay, I better one.
Have you heard about this new radio programme called Dream Dinner Parties?
No.
Yeah, it sounds a great idea. What they're doing, they're picking a celebrity, and you're allowed to use the archives to pick people that you would like to hear, and they splice it in to make it seem as though you're holding a dinner party with, you know, well-known or famous people from the past.
Well, it sounds a bit too formatted
for
me.
I saw the lineup for the first one. It's going to be hosted by Ed Balls, and the people he's having on.
Oh, God, already.
I would agree with you, Ian, but he's got some interesting people.
Yeah.
He's chosen archive footage. Les Dawson.
Right. No, archive audio, yes.
Yes. Danny Kaye.
Right.
Dennis Healy.
Yeah.
And a woman called Nancy Astor.
Oh, it sounds awful.
Well, I don't know, Ian.
No. They're gonna have him, Ed Balls, having a scripted conversation that will be written by other people with Danny Kaye, but it has to fit in with the audio they can find of Danny Kaye.
I suppose that would be the way.
Do you see?
I was thinking. Who would you choose, Ian?
I would refuse to do it.
Why?
Because it sounds awful.
No, I don't. Bearing in mind, you've met lots and lots of people over the years. I've spoken to lots of people on the radio. If they slotted in the footage that you've done, I'm thinking of Dean Torrance, Glenn Campbell, Sparks, and lots of others.
I tell you, it's funny, because I read about I thought you were going to mention this radio show that I've spotted in the mail. Now this, have a listen to this. This is the complete opposite of that, and this is where my head is going, all right? Listen to this. The BBC, this sounds absolutely incredible, guys. Genuinely.
Yeah.
The BBC is to broadcast a full hour walk through the countryside.
I heard that.
In a new breakthrough for slow radio. This sounds great.
Well, it's sort of following on, isn't it?
I don't think you'd be able to stand with it. Philip. You can barely leave a gap for breath in this conversation.
Well, the thing is, Ian, they've sort of done it in the sense that you can buy already, I've got some, what they call atmosphere tapes. And I've got one where you're in a forest in northern Canada.
How do you know it's northern Canada?
Well, it's the Algonquin National Forest.
How do you know it is?
Well, it says on it is, and it's noises and things like that. And so really, it's like the TV programme where they had slow TV. Did you ever see any of those?
I know that didn't they show a train journey?
They did.
And a canal.
They did a canal one, they did a bus one, but the best one of all was, I think, about an hour and a half ride in Lapland on the back of a sleigh.
See, for me, this one on the radio sounds better because you close your eyes.
Yes.
And you're there.
I agree with you. As I say, I've got atmosphere tapes, and they are fantastic.
Listen to this. The sounds of footsteps, wildlife, and gently running streams are intended to create inner thought in the listener.
It works.
Inner thought.
It works.
Award-winning author Horatio Clare will present the one-off programme while walking 12 miles through the Black Mountains of South Wales.
Oh, wow.
He says, I hope the sounds will transport listeners. We will get birds, obviously, hopefully buzzards, ravens, skylarks, sheep, and possibly some ponies.
Oh, wow.
Mate, come on. That sounds awesome.
Well, the one I've got has got wolves on it. You can hear the wolves howling.
Oh.
You can hear the water. You're supposed to be in a sort of dinghy type of thing, going through the Algonquin forest. It's amazing. I think it lasts about an hour.
Oh, hang on a minute. They've cheated. They've bottled it. Let me read the rest of this, because they've bottled it.
Oh, right.
They've bottled it.
Yeah.
The show, due to go out on Radio 3 on the May 29th bank holiday, is likely to feature Claire talking to locals.
Oh, no!
Yeah, and there is also a chance of music along the way. Radio 3 chief Alan Davey, bottler, said, I'm looking for external sounds of the countryside. No, you don't want him talking to anyone. What you want is the sound of him getting out of his car, blip, blip, little blip, and then him walking. That's it. That is it. And maybe if he mutters to himself, you want to hear him muttering, but that's it. I want to hear him walking.
Oh, flipping heck. No, I mean, I thought it was going to be like my tapes, sort of lay there and listen to the music of the thing. Ian, one other thing, you mentioned about New York.
Yes.
What is it, you're planning to go over there with the show?
Kath and I are kicking around a really stupid idea where we go to New York for a week and do the show from New York, and we go and interview some celebs, and maybe we hook up with another radio station over there, and that's the plan, Well,
actually, some years ago I did it. What it was, in the late 80s, a certain
You did what? You went to New York? Because I've been to New York.
I'll tell you what happened.
Please do, Philip.
In the 80s, there was a certain radio station in London did the first transatlantic phone-ins. It was done by a guy you probably heard of called Robbie Vincent. And what it was, the first station they phoned up was WMCA, which used to be a great rock station, but it has since turned into a talk station. And they did one with WMCA, and I was lucky enough to get onto that one to talk.
Well, hang on a minute. What do you mean? Hang on. You didn't go to New York. You just phoned up. Phoned up Robbie Vincent on LBC when he was talking to someone in New York.
It was an LBC.
Okay, but you phoned up Robbie Vincent on a London radio station when he was talking to someone in New York.
Yes, and also we did a sort of... I have actually been on the radio in America. I'll tell you that in a minute if you want to know.
No, we're okay, Philip. But thank you very much indeed. I appreciate that. Radio 3's bottled it, haven't they? They've bottled it. I hadn't read that full story. You want the sound of the car door slamming shut, maybe a little blip, blip, and then him walking for an hour. An hour's probably not long enough. You'd want 3 or 4 hours. Sunday afternoon, just call it Sunday afternoon strolls, and you put it on after lunchtime. Save you the effort of having to do it. You have your roast dinner. You finish what? Is Robbie coming on? Is Robbie Vincent? Has he said yes? Oh, wow. Wow, we can ask him if he remembers Philip from South Norwood. End of April, Robbie Vincent. Oh, brilliant, Kath. That is great news. Oh, that is wonderful news. Well, that's something to look forward to, isn't it? But I'd do it Sunday afternoon, sort of 3... He's coming in the studio! Robbie Vincent is coming in here! The same studio that's going to host Salt and Pepper. This is brilliant! Oh, I'm made up! Thank you, Kath. That's fantastic! Oh, dearie, if you didn't stink so much, I'd give you a kiss. That's brilliant news. Oh, I'm absolutely made up. You see how great this producer-presenter relationship is? I find out all this stuff on air. I should have got an email or a text immediately. It was sorted. I'll find out on air with you lot. You did not tell me that. You did not tell me that. You did not. CJ, good evening, CJ.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, CJ.
I found Scott Chisholm's Facebook page.
Is it actually him? Because there are a few Scott Chisholms.
Yeah, it's him. He's been active 5 hours ago. He's listed as working at ODT, ABC Australia, Sky Talk Radio and Channel 5.
And he's listed under Scott Chisholm?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Right. Okay, right. Friends request sent. Lovely. Thank you, CJ.
You're welcome.
Do you know where Wild Al Kelly is?
I'm working on that.
All right. Thank you, mate.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. There we go. That was simple and straightforward. What a cracking first hour. We got Craig. Look, sorry, Craig. You've been there for a while. Good evening.
Good evening, Ian.
Hello, mate. What you got for us?
Did you wake up this morning and wish that you wanted to work in a call centre or something?
Pourquoi?
Well, the first 2 calls, you seem to be trying to sort out problems that I used to do in call centres.
I don't really know what either of those... I'm sorry to hear that, both are having issues.
Yeah.
But, you can't say, well, you helped Jerry. Well, Jerry was a bloke with Parkinson's who was lying on the floor in a care home. So it's slightly different from someone having a down flat. And while, I don't want to make light of Alan's predicament, of course, because it's a horrible, horrible thing to have happened. But he is very, very lucky that he can stay at his mum and dad's. A lot of people wouldn't have that. But what you do is you phone up the housing association and you kind of don't tell them you can stay at your mum and dad's, and you start coughing and wheezing down the phone and tell them that it's giving you pneumonia.
very suspicious he checks his mail on a Thursday, isn't it?
Well, he's there 5 nights a week, apparently.
Growing cannabis by the sounds of it.
No, he's not growing cannabis. I don't know about. You can tell if people are growing cannabis in their lofts.
Yeah.
Because if it snows, right, the snow won't settle because of the heat. But also the roof starts sagging because it sucks out all of the moisture. So the roof starts to sag. If you drive past somewhere and there's a saggy roof, they're growing cannabis in the loft.
Oh, that sounds like Alan's place.
No. Well, I don't think Alan's growing cannabis. Well, maybe he is. I can't possibly say either way, Craig.
Marvellous. You were on about video games last time, weren't you, on Friday?
Oh, yeah, I tell you what we've got, and this is partly because of this, we've got a guy coming on whose name escapes me. Hang on a second. I can't find the name of the gentleman we've got coming on, Kath, and I can't remember the email. Oh, Andy! Andy Brown is coming on. Andy Brown's coming on. And he runs, he's really into his retro video games, and he runs all kinds of events, and there's an event happening in London this weekend, and he does events all over the country. And so that's kind of why we were talking about it last week, because my friend Will Guyot sent me a link to this thing, and it kind of seeped into the show. But he's going to come on just after 11 and have a little chat about that.
Yeah, Basically, I got a weird relationship with video games these days.
Yes.
I play the retro ones quite often, the Pac-Mans, the Dig Dugs and all that. But I can't really get into, like, the new games. It's been about 3 years since I really played them, but I can't stop buying them, thinking I'm going to get into them eventually.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I might be getting a Nintendo Switch this week.
Yeah, that's the next thing now, right?
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it, but I mean, I don't know how much you saying that I've almost completed Doom on the Xbox, new Doom, right? And I haven't come this close to completing a game for about 15 years, and I'm really, really close to the end, I think.
Well, I've got that, but I play the old Doom.
Old Doom's good. The old good, but this one's good, and it keeps. I'm so close to the end, right? But there's some really hard levels, right? But it keeps saying, don't forget, you can change the level of difficulty if it's too hard for you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wimp out at the last minute.
But I must have, I bought a Wii U.
Yeah.
Never played it. Bought all the games for it.
Yeah.
Like I say, because it's been 3 years, that's a whole console I never bothered playing with.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with the Wii U. The Switch looks a bit tasty, though, if I'm honest. I think it looks all right.
If you and Kath or your kids have got DSs, you can get Uno on the DS and link up, right?
I have got a DS sealed somewhere in the garage. I got given, and I've never opened it. I daren't tell Catherine. No, I've got another one. I've got two. I gave one to Kath. Did I not give you one?
You only need
I thought I gave you one.
You only need one cartridge as well with DS, because you can link over Wi-Fi.
No. Well, Craig, listen, nice and geeky. Thank you very much. We'll get proper geeky. The next hour, we're gonna speak to this guy. We're only going to talk for 15, 20 minutes, so don't worry. But I did enjoy the kind of the geeky chat we had. Oh no! Well, I think I did sell one, but I found another one in the garage. I said you could have it. You didn't want it. Well, you said you could have it. You didn't want one. I was going to give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. Give it away. Give it away. I'm not going to give it away now. I might keep it now. That's what I'm going to do. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Well, an hour down. Success. We found one of the two people I was looking for. Found Scott Chisholm. I don't know why I didn't find him on Facebook myself. I did try. Obviously, I'm not that good a detective. Wild Al Kelly we are looking for now. No tweeting. No replying to tweets. No reading tweets during the show. And, well, maybe it was a coincidence, but we had a very busy first hour of the show then. I don't know. Is there something in that? Could there be something in that? I don't know. We're just kicking around a few ideas and seeing what happens. I will go through the papers. There's loads to talk about, but you can call in about the stuff that we've discussed. Growing cannabis, Yahoo Games, being kicked off of Facebook pages, any of those things at all. Or none of those. I mean, it really is up to you. 03 4991000. If you can tell me how to get rid of this bloody mouth ulcer. Oh, it's killing me. I'm going to put some Bonjela on now, guys. New formula Bonjela. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Talk Radio.
I tell you what, don't phone in give us about 15, 20 minutes. We're going to get a little bit geeky, as we like to do on the show. We had a really interesting conversation last week about retro games, and I've got one of the organisers of the London gaming market coming on to talk about it. So just rest your phone fingers for a bit, OK? Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Hang on a minute, I don't know what's going on there. Hang on a minute. There we go.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long.
So we had a nice geeky chat last week about old video games, and we found. Do you remember we found that guy that played the Ghostbusters theme using 8 or 12 floppy disk drives? Remember that? That was incredible. And someone had Eye of the Tiger being played on a dot matrix printer. I mean, I might dig those out and play those again a bit later on. Just stupid. The reason we were talking about old video games. If anyone has followed my career, you will know that I am very geeky when it comes to old video games, and by that I mean things. I'm not even talking about NESs and stuff like. I'm talking about BBC Micros and Dragon 32s. That's kind of where my heart lies. But I do love a good GameCube and the N64 and the Dreamcast. I think is one of the greatest machines of all time. I was having a nice geeky chat with my friend Will Guy, and he told me about this thing, the London Gaming Market, that's on this weekend, and they just sell old retro games. And I thought we'd have a little chat with one of the organisers, and it's Andy Brown. Evening, Andy.
Good evening. How are you, Ian?
I'm very, very well. And it turns out we've worked together before.
We have, many moons ago.
Up in, it was Blackpool, wasn't it?
It was, sunny Blackpool.
Sunny Blackpool. This London Gaming Market, what is it?
So it's basically it's kind of like, if you think, do you know what a record fair is like?
Oh,
I mean, the old
mate, you speak on my language. Yes, of course.
So it's the same sort of thing as that. It's a big, massive hall, and basically there's loads of independent retailers that turn up, that come and bring all their retro games and consoles and things like that. And the public can just turn up and just pay a couple of quid, or pay £5 if they want to get an early bird ticket, and they can come and shop and peruse retro games to their heart's content.
It sounds very sexy. How long? Because I hadn't heard of this particular market. How long you been doing it for?
This is the third year we've been running it. Right. So we started the first one a couple of years ago. We ran one in November, then we ran 3 last year, and this is the first of 3 again this year.
And how many? How big is it? How many traders are going to be there?
I think this one's quite a big one because it's part of the London Games Week. So we've got about 40 different retailers coming.
Yeah, the London Games Week. No, because I'm doing something for that. I'm on April the 4th, I think it is, at the Regent Street Cinema. I'm interviewing the guy, and I forget his name, the guy that runs Niantic, the company that does Pokemon Go. And so suddenly, in the eyes of my children, I'm cool again. I had a tweet from Mark Hamill last week, and then next week I'm interviewing the guy that's responsible for Pokemon Go. So
there you go.
I'm a cool dad. So you got loads of people, and how many punters are you expecting to turn up?
Like I said, because this is going to be a busy one because of London Games Week. About 2,000. So it's a busy old event.
And when we say retro, what is good? What am I going? I'm walking through the doors. What am I going to see?
Well, do you know what? I heard what you were saying before about BBCs and Dragons and stuff like that. It is more, to be honest, it's more console-based stuff. There's a few vendors that sell the kind of old 8-bit computer stuff, but it's the majority of people are selling the console-based stuff. So, like you were saying, from the NES, that kind of era, that 8-bit era, right through to latest. Maybe there's a few people selling the latest stuff, but it tends to kind of finish off around PS3, Xbox 360.
Oh, mate, I was bidding on GameCubes last week. You go on eBay and you get lucky. They start at 99p, some of them, and the one I was bidding, I bid £6 and it went for £12. But I've got my eyes on a few GameCubes because they were cracking consoles. The GameCubes.
They certainly were. They still are.
You
said they were.
No, I know you're right.
Anymore.
They still are, and my boys are really. We've got an Xbox, and for ages, an Xbox One, and for ages, Andy, they didn't know that you could play games on it. They thought it was just to watch Netflix on, because me and my wife were a little bit reluctant to kind of throw them into this world. And then we went to the Science Museum, had an exhibition of old video games, and we were playing some stuff on the Xbox, and my boys were playing it, and they turned to me and they went, "Daddy, can our Xbox play games?" And I went, "Well, guys, I think it might be able to if we..." So we got into it. But they've also got a Kano. You know these Kano computers that you kind of build and you can create stuff. And they've been playing Pac-Man. And there are some games, right? There are some games that are just timeless, aren't there?
There's a huge raft of games that are timeless.
What would you say? What is the one game? If you had a choice, you got stuck on a desert island, you could only play one game for the rest of your life. What would it be?
This is desert island discs with games.
Yeah, but one. You're allowed one, and there's power in a TV, but that's it.
That's a tough one. That's really tough. Do you know? Probably Tomb Raider.
The original.
Yeah, even though I'm kind of into my retro.
Yeah.
That's kind of... I played retro, so I grew up in the Commodore 64 era. That's my age, so it gives you a clue at my age anyway. And I kind of was into gaming.
Andy, we're old. We're old men, man.
We're not old. We're not old.
We are. We're ancient. We're ancient.
So then Tomb Raider was kind of... It was that PS1... And I got out of gaming at some point when I went to university, so I think Super Nintendo era. But Tomb Raider was the game that really got me back into gaming. And so I've got a real fondness for it. And it was the first game that I played, and it was like, wow, this is like cinema.
Yeah.
This is real. I mean, looking back on it now, you think, flipping heck.
No, but at the time, it's funny, because I got out of gaming, and then towards the end of university, we went round to a friend's house, and they had a Sega Saturn. And we played Wipeout on it. And the same as you, I was like, I've not been keeping my eye on this for the last 5 or 6 years. When did games suddenly get like proper movies?
I think there was such a shift between the previous generation, so like from the Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, to the PlayStation and Saturn. You got polygons and you got 3D graphics, and it was super real. It was amazing.
And it had music, because what Sony did that was brilliant with the Sony PlayStation was they linked it up with dance music, and they put PlayStation. This is one of the reasons PlayStation crushed the Sega Saturn. They put PlayStations in like clubs, so there'd be loads of people off their face on E. And they'd be playing Wipeout, which is a really...
And then you'd go home, and then the game had the same tracks that you were listening to at the club. Whoever thought of that
is a genius.
No, it was. I remember reading an interview, I think, with the marketing guy that came up with that, and and he said, it's just one of those ideas. Let's put Wipeout, which is a really, really fast game with dance music. He said, let's put that in nightclubs, and instead of going to the chill out room, people will be sat there, just playing this thing, and it is a very, it's a vaguely psychedelic thing with thing rushing towards you at high speed, and when people were high on drugs, it accentuated the excitement, and that's one of the reasons that it became perceived as cool. The gaming became cool again, and not just the preserve of, nerdy people like you and me. Which is, for me, if I had to choose, it depends. If I was stuck on the desert island by myself, it would be Elite on the BBC Model B, the cassette version.
Timeless.
If I was stuck on there with 3 or 4 other people, it would be GoldenEye on the N64.
Good choice.
That is, 4 different James Bonds running around shooting each other. That game, for me, is pretty much the pinnacle of video games. Why do you think, Andy, that there is still... Because the Xbox now can do anything. The PlayStation 4 can do anything. But there is still this affection for holding the old GameCube controllers, the old Super Nintendo controllers, and the games that do look a bit crap compared to the stuff we get now. Why is there this affection for it?
Nostalgia, part of it, I think.
Yeah.
And possibly... the simplicity of the older games, the fact that they didn't have a huge backstory and you don't have to put hours and hours and hours into it, you can just pick it up and just get in there straight away. You can play straight away. So if you just fancy a 10, 15, 20, whatever minute gaming session, you can just do that.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I have nothing against, modern gaming. I love it. I've got all the latest consoles. I've got the Switch. But you've got to put a lot of time in and a lot of effort, and it's a bit of graft. And there's, great rewards, but with the older stuff, you can just do that. Oh, I'm just going to dip my toe in quickly, and I think that's it.
I think you're right. And with games like Pac-Man and Defender and Donkey Kong that I consider, to be the classics, it is you can just go, right, I've got 20 minutes before I need to go to work. Let's just see if I can beat my high score, and that's it. And that's it. That's
the trouble with that is though, it shows, and I'm the same. It shows how crap we are at games if we're only getting 20 minutes on a game.
We had the gentleman, and I forget his name. There's a documentary about him, not King of Kong, but it's got the same people in. The guy that played, what was the name of that game? It's like Snake, and he played it for 36 hours. And he was such a nice man, and he's going to do another world record attempt. Actually, we must check it out. But there are these people that are nuts. He's nuts, and I'd say it to his face if he were here. He's nuts, and to commit to playing a game for 36... Nibbler, that was it. Nibbler was the game. To commit to playing a game for 36 hours, that takes someone who's very special, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does.
It's commitment. There you go. It's commitment. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I don't have the time to do it.
No. My boys watched some of it, and luckily I stopped it just because there's a bit where it gets quite sweary. But they're fascinated. Tim McVeigh was the gentleman. Not the Oklahoma bomber, the other one. Thank you, Catherine. My kids are fascinated by seeing old arcade cabinets, and they go, well, how many games does it have? One. You just got one game in, and then you go to the next cabinet if you want to play another game. Then you go to the next one, and then you run out of money and you go home. And it is. Have you ever been to Japan, Andy?
I have, many moons ago, about 12, 13 years ago.
Did you go to any of the arcades there?
I did. It's amazing. And you know what, the Japanese, retro gaming in this country, it's becoming more popular now, but the Japanese have embraced it so much better.
Yep.
And for so much longer. They have, in Akihabara, they have, huge retro gaming shops there, and they've got the old arcades, Namco World, or Sega World, and Namco. Yes.
And
fantastic.
It's not, going to the arcade is not in any way, there is this whole image we have of girls don't play video games. We know ain't true, but the arcades are filled with shady old men and lonely blokes. But going to the arcade, if you're in Tokyo, it's amazing. That's a Friday night out for people of all ages, and you'll see kids there, and you'll see old people there, and they'll all be there playing Mario Kart and these weird games where you go inside a pod and you're controlling a virtual robot. And it's seen as the same as going to the cinema or going out for a meal. Should we go to the pictures or should we go to the arcade tonight? What do you fancy? And it's a really weird that it's such an integral part of Japanese social life. I love it. I haven't been there for ages. Akihabara, that was the place to go.
You're making me want to go back.
No,
now.
I do. I want to go back.
You do it. We'll do it.
Mate, we've got to, because it is just it's just such a joy out there. You've got other events coming up as well. What else is coming up? I know there's some way down the line, but what else is coming up, Andy?
Yeah, so we run, like I said, we run 3 markets a year in London. We run some others up north.
Up north, yes.
In Doncaster, and they're much bigger. So there's one of those coming up in August.
Yes.
I really should know when my own event.
You should know your dates.
Do you know what it is? We do so many, they all blur into one.
Where's now I've tweeted the link for LondonGamingMarket.com. Now that's the one, and it's this Sunday, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whereabouts is it going to be in London?
It's Royal National Hotel.
Okay, that's Russell Square.
Russell Square, bang in the centre.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Just come down. We'll geek out.
If I can swing it, if I can swing it at home, I'm coming, man. Seriously, I want to come.
Bring the kids.
Oh,
there you go. See.
Yeah, that's.
And then you'll get some points with the wife then as well.
I won't get any points because we'll be on a load of old, what she will call a load of old crap. Where's the best place to go online to find out about the other stuff, or is LondonGamingMarket.com the best place?
About the other markets, there's the videogamemarket.com is the one in Doncaster, and then of course we run a whole slew of actual gaming events, not just market style events.
When's the next one? Do you know?
Easter, Leeds, Play Expo Leeds. So that's 2-3. When is Easter? 2-3 weeks away. Not long.
It's soon. I know the kids are breaking up soon. It's only just been half term.
They've only just gone back to school.
Oh man,
it's just at school.
I don't understand
2 days. Yeah.
Have you got kids, Andy?
I have. Yeah.
How old are your kids?
So my eldest is 5. She's just started school, and my youngest is 2.
And are they playing games? Do you let them play games?
My daughter does. Yeah, she loves it.
What does she play?
She. You know what? She plays. She loves Oddworld. And you know the remake of it. They made a remake.
Yeah.
And so we had an event, and my daughter was about 3 at the time, and a guy called Stuart Gilray, who owns Just Stadwater Studios, was there, and he was chatting to my daughter because she's chatty, and I said, oh, this is the guy that makes the scary game, because that's what she calls it. Yeah. And he was like, oh, you let your daughter play that? Oh, that's Peggy 16. I was like, oh, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, she just watches it in the background. But no, she loves, she plays Mario Kart now on the Wii U.
It's all good stuff, mate. I'm love, and there's such a joy with play. We haven't got Mario Kart, but we were playing the Sega, the Sonic racing game, and what a joy! Just playing it with my 2 boys, playing a stupid racing game, and we're shouting at each other, and we're teasing. Oh, it's wonderful.
It is, and there's a lot to be said, I think. I mean, I've nothing against online gaming and playing that, but and that's one of the things I think if you come to our events, we have that, where you can play the 4-player games like say, GoldenEye, and you can play and you get that same experience that you had when you were younger.
Yeah.
Like we put couches out as well and have GoldenEye, and you play on the couch, so you sat with your mates, and you're elbowing each other in the ribs and doing all that stuff that you did when you were kids, and you're kind of recreating the whole vibe, not just playing the game.
Oh, it's playing it in the same room with people.
It's a different experience.
Completely a different experience. And I play online and stuff, but having someone next to you where you can you grab their controller if they're ahead of you, all of that kind of stuff.
With the hands over their eyes.
Yeah, it's a joy. It's and I don't like football, but I like playing FIFA. And when someone destroys me at FIFA, it's just a joy. It's a joy, and we're very careful about how much we let the kids play games and stuff, and they read and they go out and they play, and playing video games I think is a good part of growing up. Andy, listen, I may see you on Sunday if I can swing things my way, but if not, then stay in touch and we will meet up soon.
We will. We'll go to Japan.
Yeah. Oh, don't tempt me, Andy. Absolute pleasure to talk to you, mate. Andy Brown. LondonGamingMarket.com is the one if you want to go to it this weekend. I may pop along if I can persuade the powers that be that that's what I need to do. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. Late Night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Boyley, come in. I need to pick your brains on something. There's a situation is arising. Not really a situation. Kevin, I'll come to you in a bit. 0344 499 1000. Not doing Twitter tonight, guys. But. Want to pick your brains?
Yeah.
You know, I'm on Facebook. I'm in loads of monkeys groups.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Clem Curtis, the lead singer of the Foundations, has died.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we interview him on 3CR?
I think so, yeah.
I think we did, didn't we?
I think he lived locally.
Was he? But he wasn't like the lead singer on the hits, wasn't he? Didn't he join them a bit later? But he said he was the lead singer in the hits. Anyway, very nice gentleman, right? So someone's posted on a Monkey's Facebook page. Rest in peace, Clem Curtis, lead singer of the Foundations. This is one of my favourite non-Monkey songs from the 60s. The Foundations, Now That I Found You, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone's posted underneath, and I've not seen the clip, an old black and white clip from Top of the Pops. Someone's posted underneath. It's unfortunate that this clip of a great song by a fine artist starts with an introduction by disgraced DJ Jimmy Savile, who, after his death, was revealed to have been a predatory sexual abuser and serial rapist for many years. Mark, if you are able, you might want to edit the video's link, which will start the file after the intro at the beginning of the song, leaving the music as a tribute to Mr. Curtis without the taint of Savile. The person who then posted it then wrote, "Yeah, guys, sorry about the nonce at the beginning of the clips. I just linked to the first video I found of the song." So I've posted, can we not just enjoy the music? Don't let Savile spoil it for you. The person who wrote the original thing about disgraced Jimmy Savile said, "I agree in principle, Iain, but there will be people for whom it may be a real trauma to come unexpectedly face to face with someone like that, a trigger situation. It's best to know he's there to avoid it completely, or at least edit it to delete him." I've replied, well, yes, I guess, but I do think there is a slight amount of hysteria around it. There's a great clip of Mike Nesmith, one of the Monkeys, on Top of the Pops. We don't post that because he's introduced by Savile. I think it's all a bit silly, if I'm completely honest. I still listen to Gary Glitter. Others still listen to 10cc or Early Genesis, produced and discovered, respectively, by, what's his name?
Jonathan King?
Jonathan King, that's the fella. I'd rather see the clip of Clem if it had Savile than not see it at all. Who's right? Is the question I want to ask. I know it's not as simple as that, but who's right?
I don't know about this trigger thing. I don't know how much of a trigger it would be. I'm not in that position. I'm fortunate not to be in that position. I guess, though, if you've grown up with it...
With what? Savile or abuse?
Having survived abuse and grown up around people who it emerges were involved in sexually abusing children, you form your own defence mechanisms. I don't know, personally, how I would feel about that.
I think that this rewriting of history is impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible to erase Savile, Harris, Hall, Glitter, King, and others. It's impossible to erase them, their touch, and I mean that is not done as a joke. I mean it, their touch within the music industry, because Savile was everywhere in the music industry. Mm-hmm. He interviewed everybody, the Beatles, he interviewed everybody. Jonathan King was everywhere in the music industry. He wrote songs. He translated the lyrics for Gloria. He produced songs, and he discovered and managed artists. So his touch is everywhere. And again, I'm not using that word as a double entendre. You cannot erase that from history. And this kind of, I don't know if this gentleman this gentleman may possibly be... No, he's not an American. Okay.
But this idea that it might trigger somebody, is that somebody speaking about something he thinks might happen, he imagines might be a problem, or is he speaking from experience? Because
He has not said, this triggers me as a survivor of sexual abuse.
So that's the thing, it's people making rules for the protection of people who might not necessarily need that level of protection, actually, because they've been living in a world where these people have been commonplace for such a long time.
And also, what this has now done with his post...
about him.
It's become about Savile and not Clem Curtis, who may not even be in that clip, because I think Clem Curtis joined the Foundations in the 70s after they'd had hits. I'm not totally sure. I wouldn't want to say, but I'm sure we found that out, that it was, Anyway. So it's not become about the singer that's died. The thread has been hijacked by someone, probably with the best intention, but it has become hijacked, and I would consider phrases like, predatory sexual abuser and serial rapist actually more damaging than, and I'm sure that I bet the mods will strike this off the page because they're quite good at that. But I would find that more damaging, the language, as opposed to, okay, if you are triggered by this kind of thing, you may want to switch off. I'm going to play this clip just to see how much of it is Savile. So you're going to hear Savile. I personally don't think that people will necessarily be triggered by it, but if you think that you might be, if you think that you might find it upsetting, just switch your radios off for the next 30 seconds, okay? I'm clicking play on the clip. Let's see. There he is.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome indeed to Top of the Pops, and how are you this evening? Hope you're all feeling very, very fit and well. And if you're not feeling very fit and well, I hope this half hour cheers you up. And I wish really we could have invited you down here to Top of the Pops, but the studio's not that big.
It's quite a long intro.
So how's about we should start off with a nice brisk number this evening, and it's from our good friends from a long time, the Foundations.
21 seconds.
Yeah.
It's 21 seconds, so it's quite a long time. And it's strange watching him, it feels strange because...
You can't look at him without thinking about what he did now.
No. And the BBC not showing on TV, that's probably the right thing to do. Probably. Again, I'm not totally... the BBC not showing him on things like Top of the Pops 2, where they repeat old Top of the Pops, is probably the right thing to do. Excluding him completely from music documentaries, I think, is probably the wrong thing to do. Maybe you give a warning at the start. But I think excluding him and Glitter and King from documentaries...
Is that the thing, then, that we need to give warnings in the future?
Maybe... I said a warning. I don't know if I mean that, actually.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I can't listen to Michael Jackson songs anymore.
Well, I don't know where we stand with Michael Jackson.
No, but... I just don't want to hear it anymore. So I switch it off when it comes on the radio.
That post has been removed by the admins. I knew they would.
And I'm not a survivor of sexual abuse. I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah. It's just an interesting...
But that's my choice, and I'm not suggesting they ban Michael Jackson.
No. I don't know. You may want to call in about this, dear listener. You may not. Thank you, Catherine. Just picking your brains there. Kevin, I'll come to you in a bit. Sorry, I see you've been waiting for a while. You may want to call in. You may not. It may take us somewhere. It may not. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting little thought piece that... I don't know. I do think there is a certain amount of hysteria around all of this stuff. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night Iain Lee. Unfiltered night talk with the original king of unconventional conversation on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. You're on the phone for about 30 seconds. You'll speak to Kath. She'll take your details and give you a call back. Kevin's on the line. Evening, Kevin.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
Good, thank you very much, Kevin. What have you got for us this evening?
I wanted to talk to you about the video games, but the Jimmy Savile topic.
Yeah, Kevin, I know you're on Skype. Is there any way you can make it sound not rubbish? What have you got, like a headset or something?
No, I was talking to the...
That's better.
Laptop.
Whatever you're doing there, that's better.
Is that better now?
Don't move from there, Kev. We got it.
There we go.
Thank you.
I wanted to originally talk to you about the children video game.
Yes.
But I want to move over to Jimmy Savile topic of how you want to remove him from the media and documentaries.
Who wants to do that?
Well, you don't want to do that. You were against that.
Yes.
Well, what I see is he's a paedophile. well, not convicted paedophile, but he was a sex offender.
Yes.
Before he died, sadly.
Sadly?
So you are
Before he died, sadly?
So are you promoting of his documentary being shown?
What on earth are you talking about, Kevin?
Sorry?
What on earth are you talking about?
So you wanted Jimmy Savile to be promoted?
Is that what I said?
I don't know, is that what you said?
I don't know, were you listening?
I was listening.
Well, I don't think you were, because you've spoken complete and utter balls for the last 3 minutes. Try again.
Okay, let's move on to the first bucket about how you were talking about...
I think we ought to, Kevin, because maybe you'll know what you're talking about in this instance.
Maybe I will, but, so, you said children video games are quite good together, how they're stimulating for children?
Don't tell me what I said, Kevin. Why don't you tell me what you want to say?
Well, what I want to say is video games are quite bad for children because my little son has been playing Grand Theft Auto now for the past 3 weeks.
Kevin, Kevin, if this is a prank call, mate, it is absolutely awful.
This is Ian.
How old's your son?
I'm a long time listener.
Yeah, and a first time poor caller. How old's your son, Kev?
Caller. I'm 32. He is 10 years old.
Okay, right. When's his birthday?
It is the 18th of October.
Which year?
2007.
Right. Well done. Well done. You managed to pull that out. And what's his name?
His name is Rishi.
Right. You're lying. You haven't got a son, Kevin.
Oh, my God.
And this is a terrible call. Shall I tell you why this prank call is flawed? Shall I tell you where the flaw is in this prank?
Go on.
Right. You're phoning up to do a little piece about how video games are bad for kids, and your fictional son has been playing Grand Theft Auto for the last 3 weeks. And what, has he been violent and aggressive and got bad language now?
He's too sick.
Well done. Well, thank you very much indeed. I think we got that. I mean, did we get that? You will have heard that. Apologies to the people on Periscope. You will have heard some. You're amazing. It was the worst prank call ever. I mean, jeez. Fair play for having a go, but it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, my God. It was like Columbo. He thought I was like Columbo because I saw through it. Based on a flawed premise, guys. If you're going to do a prank call, build it on a solid premise. All right. Pablo.
Hip, hip, hip.
Hip, 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 Pablo. What you got for us, boss?
Coolio. Yeah, it was mainly, on the gaming front from talking before. Did you ever play any of the Police Quest, Space Quest, Sierra games?
No.
Oh, they were very good. You should look them up.
Thank you.
On another side point, I may potentially, as you may or may not know, I do a bit of a podcast in my spare time. And we may potentially be getting an interview with Lloyd Kaufman.
Who?
He's the director and founder of Trauma. You know, Trauma films like Toxic Avenger, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD.
I don't know any of these films. I know Toxic Avenger, so like cheap, crappy 80s movies.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of that's their specific thing. It's kind of, as little taste, as much gore and bad taste as possible. Like Class of Nukem High, Poltergeist.
I'm aware of 2 of those titles, but I've never seen them. My favourite of those schlocky films was the first or second film from Peter Jackson called Bad Taste.
Oh, Bad Taste, awesome, yeah.
Now that's a movie, Bad Taste, before he got money and ideas above his station and made the tedious Lord of the Rings. Bad Taste is a brilliant, brilliant film.
It was superb. I really like that. And his little mentioned Heavenly Creatures, which I think was his 4th film after...
I didn't see that. What was the one where it's I'm kicking ass for the Lord? There's a...
That's Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. I didn't think that was very good. I thought that was a bit dry, Brain Dead.
Well, I think I remember it being very good at the time, but I think it's probably a little bit dated.
I remember watching it after Bad Taste and being really disappointed because it looked slicker, but was also significantly duller.
Yeah, we also did Meet the Feebles, which was kind of like Avenue Q before Avenue Q happened, where it was like kind of like Rude Muppets, which is quite good. But Heavenly Creatures was very good. It was what's her name, Kate Blanchett.
I've just got too much stuff. I don't know why I did this, but I just ordered, I'll tell you why, 'cause it was 28 quid. And it arrived today, the entire Larry Sanders box set for 28 quid.
I saw that. That's a superb purchase.
28 quid. And I mean, flipping. I've been sent the new Will Storr book and the new Matt Haig book before they come out. I'm going to drown in, I've got too much stuff.
It's, and
I'm getting a Nintendo Switch this week. I've got too much stuff.
Oh, I can take some off your hands if you want.
I think I'm all right, Pablo, but the offer is gratefully appreciated. Strange old show tonight, but do you know what? It's working. Not being on the Twitter. Steady stream of calls. Some of them have been wackos, but it's working. Andy's up next. If you want to give us a call, now will be a great time. 0344 499 1000. Oh, and I'm thinking this Friday, I'll tell you after this.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over.
Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
I think staying off Twitter during the show is the way forward. And someone mentioned that, and I meant to make this point, it's quite dull as well, because not everyone's on Twitter. And in the media, we think that everybody's on Twitter and on Facebook. And actually, most people aren't on Twitter or Facebook. So to keep talking about Twitter and Facebook, to a lot of people, is dull, boring. So we're going to do it for a week, see how it goes, but I will tweet links and I will, the top of the next hour, I'll tweet another hour to go, watch us on Periscope, listen at this, but that's it. I'm not reading your tweets. I'm not, going to reply to them. So just don't bother. Pick up the phone instead. If you want to have your say, pick up the phone instead. 0344 499 1000. I was going to say Friday. I'm giving you a heads up now. Tomorrow we're going to play the Jimmy Tarbuck interview. Friday, let's take calls straight to air for the whole show. Shall we? The whole show, calls straight to air. That gives you a few days to have a little think about what you might like to do. So just get your thinking caps on, and if you're going to play stuff down the phone, don't do it on speakerphone. Maybe try it out with a friend just to see if they can hear it. So have a little think. So Friday, I'm flagging it up now. It'll be me and Kath in the studio. Ed will come and join us for some of it. You in on Friday, Ed? Yeah, beautiful. Ed will come in and join us. It'll be the three of us sat around, and we'll just take calls straight to air. Okay? I'm flagging that up now. Remind me to tell you tomorrow at the top of the show as well. That's Friday. 0344 499 1000. Andy's on the line. Good evening, Andy.
Iain Lee, you legend. What a pleasure it is to speak to you.
Thank you, Andy. I'm very excited to speak to you too as well.
You remember, obviously, not many years ago when there was no such thing as Twitter, and this immediate single-ended way of people contributing to your show.
Yes.
And kind of things changed, didn't they? When people were able to send something without getting a reply.
I remember walking, I tell this story about it being at LBC, that's a slight lie, it was at XFM. I remember walking into the studio and there was a new screen there, and I said to my boss, what's that? And he said, oh, it's great, people can text in to the radio station now. And part of me thought, well, why the hell would we want that? And part of me now still thinks, why the hell would we want that? And I remember when Twitter launched, I was at Absolute and I had a producer called Davis, who I didn't really get on with. And so every time he suggested something, my reaction was to, think it was a bad idea, because quite often it was. He had some good ideas. Yeah. And I remember I came in one night and he said, I've just found this thing called Twitter. And because, my natural default setting was to think everything he suggested was not a great idea. I wasn't an early adopter of it. And I said, well, I don't know, Davis. I don't think it's really, it's going to catch on. It's not going to catch on. What a muppet. But, I think, part of the reason that phone-in radio is in such a turgid state is because there are all of these anonymous, faceless ways of faceless. Phoning is faceless, but these ways of communicating where people can send you a tweet, send you an email, send you a text. They can post on a Facebook page, and that's great that people are I'd rather they did that than nothing, but I'd also rather that they called in.
But it's single-ended in as much as people just say something to you, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever your response is and your opinion about what they say comes back to them. It's too late. There's no discourse. There's no two-way.
Yeah. Or if there is, and I've done that thing before, where someone will say something on Twitter, and I'll be here and I'll read it out, and I go, well, no, I think you're wrong because, and then they'll send me another one. And as a listener, hearing a man arguing out loud with someone who's typing messages, that's not a good listen.
It's not a good listen. However, things move on, don't they? And you have to kind of amalgamate it and bring, and make it part of what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and maybe and so this week is just kind of a little experiment, and already it's worked. We've had more calls tonight. Mondays are normally a bit quiet on the phones, and we've had some cracking calls tonight, some weird calls. But I'm just thinking that maybe by disengaging with Twitter during the show, it might make the show better. It might. I don't know.
It's a bit like removing one of someone's senses. In that all the other senses become enhanced.
Oh, is that actually true? Does that? I mean, are blind people, have they got better hearing, and if they have
smell better? Well, that's what they say.
But do all of their senses become better, or is it just hearing? And why isn't it why doesn't their sense of taste become better?
Maybe it does.
Maybe it does. I don't know. Does it?
Ian, I wanted to talk to you about Jonathan King.
Yes.
I'm a bit uncomfortable. Because I like Jonathan King.
Well, when you say you like Jonathan King, do you mean the man or the music he is responsible for?
Well, this is it, isn't it? The music and the things he's responsible for. The guy's a genius. You know, the guy, like he discovered Genesis.
Yep.
And 10cc.
Yep.
Two of the best bands ever.
Well, I don't know. I would dispute that, but let's not get hung up on that.
Well, that's personal taste, isn't it? I mean, I don't know what you feel about
10cc. I mean, really?
I personally think, they are two of my favourite bands.
Wow. Okay. I can understand that.
However, I mean, he brought out songs like, what was that one that was by 100 Ton and a Feather? It only takes a minute.
It was Take That had a hit with, of course.
They did. But I think
Una Paloma Blanca, that was him.
Yeah, that was
Johnny Reggae was him.
Brilliant pop song.
Here comes Johnny Reggae. Reggae.
Fantastic.
Great record.
Fantastic. He was obviously a genius in pop music, a genius musician, a genius producer, and I love that about someone whose entire life revolves around producing fantastic pop music. And then you hear about the personal side of his life, which is somewhat distasteful.
Well, just for balance, I think somewhat distasteful. He groomed and raped young boys of 14, 15 years old. That's what he did. That's what he went to prison for.
So it's very distasteful.
Yeah, I mean, I think distasteful is too weak a word. He groomed and raped young boys. That's what he did, and I'm just saying that because
we've got. So I really admire the guy for his professional life.
Yeah.
But yet I abhor what he was doing in his private life.
Yeah.
And the really difficult thing is to dissociate those two feelings.
Yes, it is.
It's very difficult to do that without feeling It's a bit like Gary Glitter's another one. Gary Glitter was responsible for some fantastic pop music.
Can I make a confession? I don't know if I think I said this on the air, and if I bought, there's a Gary Glitter album called GG when he was off his nuts and he thought he was bigger than he actually was. And he went to America and recorded like a sort of soul album, and it flopped terribly. It's a terrible record, but I had it when I was a teenager and I really liked it, and I wanted to get it on CD and I couldn't find it anywhere. The only place I could find it was on iTunes, I think for $6.99.
Right.
And I bought it. And I listened to that record and I enjoyed that record. And I went to see Gary Glitter a few times. Me and Kath have made a documentary about Gary Glitter fans.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're still trying to find a home for it, unsurprisingly. Where I went and I met loads of Gary Glitter fans and asked them about this, how they squared off, the enjoying the music, celebrating the music, but acknowledging that he was a serial child rapist. Now, some of them said they could separate Gary Glitter from Paul Gadd. They could separate the music from the heinous sexual crimes, and they could do that. Some of them said, well, I didn't choose to like him. You can't choose what music you like. It's instinctive. And a smaller minority said it was a stitch-up. Gary Glitter was innocent. And he was, they couldn't get Savile, so they went for Glitter.
That's just denying, isn't it? But
yeah. They were in complete denial. To some of them to a very extreme extent that they would go to the court case every day and cheer him on. But you're right. It is. I was singing "I Love You, Love Me, Love," right? And my boys started singing it and said, "What's that song?" And I felt uncomfortable, Andy. And I had to say, it's just a silly song I made up. I was watching some Gary Glitter videos, researching this documentary that we made. And I was watching them on YouTube, and the kids came in. You've never seen anyone close down a YouTube window quicker. It was like I was watching pornography or something. Oh, no, I'm not watching anything in here. No.
Except, Ian, before that happened, you were watching that thinking this guy was brilliant.
Yeah. So what have you reached a conclusion, Andy?
How can we draw that line between those two different parts of the same person?
And I struggle with both Glitter and King because some people say, well, I can separate, Gary Glitter and Paul Gadd. Well, I can't because Paul Gadd used the fame of Gary Glitter to groom, to get access to the children. And Jonathan King did the same thing. Jonathan King famously went round in his Rolls Royce, would see a cute boy walking down the street, would wind down the window and say, hello, do you know who I am? I'm Jonathan King. I can get you to meet pop stars if you come and get in this car and come home with me. And so they used their celebrity to get, to abuse children. We're running out of time, Andy, and I find this discussion endlessly fascinating, and no one else will have it. No one else.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Well,
and I'm surprised it's not discussed more, to be honest.
No, I think it's criminal that those people have been... Criminal, that's a strong word. I retract that immediately. I find it wrong that those people have been airbrushed out of history because you can't do that, because their reach, that's a better word than touch, their reach throughout the music industry was so wide-ranging. Have you reached a conclusion, Andy? Have you come to a place where you're comfortable?
I find myself uncomfortable about Gary Glitter, but more comfortable about Jonathan King. But only because I liked Jonathan King's music more than I like Gary Glitter's. Yeah. And I in my mind, I kind of shut away that bad stuff. Maybe I'm probably wrong.
Phil Spector murdered a woman, of course.
Yeah. Phil Spector was a genius.
And yet there is no... he shot a young woman at close range in the face and murdered her, and yet there is no one is clamouring to ban... the Crystals or the Ronnie Spector
records on the radio, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. The Righteous Brothers, it's a really David Bowie, had sex with a teenage girl who also had sex with Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page is still heralded as a rock god.
And let's face it, an awful lot of rock and pop legends of the past did bad stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Cass just typed on my screen, and I think there's something in this. If you're a bit of a joke, King and Glitter, you get airbrushed out. Geniuses, Bowie and the guitarist, Jimmy Page, they get a free pass.
But Jonathan King's a genius.
Well... But a genius in plastic pop, primarily,
Yes.
which is different from the seriousness of hard rock like Led Zeppelin, where
Well, now there's another discussion.
Yeah.
Why is plastic pop not serious?
Oh, mate, I agree with you, and we'll have to have that another night, Andy, because we're out of time. Thank you for calling in. I enjoyed that. Thank you, mate. There we go. That's a good call. I wasn't expecting that. It's funny, no one else will talk about this, and every time I mention glitter, I always get, well, you shouldn't be talking about that on the radio. You shouldn't really be. Why? Why shouldn't we be talking about it? I think we should be talking about it, because it's screwing us up that we don't discuss this stuff. You know, we don't talk about this stuff, and there is confusion. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. What a busy 2 hours it's been. That was a cracking call. Thank you, Andy. You can call in about that. You can call in about Yahoo games. You can call in about retro games. I'm going to go through the papers in a bit. There's loads of stuff in the papers tonight. So if you don't want to call in, if you've had enough, then that's that'll do. But I'd like it if you called in, please, guys, please. 0344 499 1000. Don't forget to tick your age diaries. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000. Another hour of this to go. You know the rules, guys. You can call in about absolutely anything you want, or you can talk about the stuff we've talked about, or I can sit here and go through the papers. It's up to you. Iain Lee, Late Nights with on Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
When the pale moon shines on me, I'll think of you. When the pale moon shines on me, I'll think of you, with your face like a lemon. When the pale moon shines on me, I'll think of you. Though your face is like a lemon, you're sweet inside. When the pale moon shines on me, I'll think of you.
Oh, it was a sudden end. It goes on for a bit longer. I don't know what happened there. I'm getting an Ivor Cutler CD delivered this week, guys, so we can dive straight in. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, no calls on the switchboard. So. I shall sit and go through the papers, and you can join in if you want or not. I'm enjoying not engaging with the folks on Twitter. By Wednesday, the novelty will have worn off. And I won't keep talking about the fact I'm not engaging with the folks on Twitter. I've not looked at anything anyone's posted. But by Wednesday, hopefully, it'll just be... It won't even be an issue. Here we go. The Sun has got... what is this? They say youth is wasted on the young, but not if they are learning a new language. Huh? Financial website Business Insider has analysed a vast collection of surveys, trials and studies to determine the average age we peak at everything. This is going to be grim reading. The average age we peak at everything. From becoming our most attractive, running our best time in a marathon, and being at our happiest. Why would anyone want to run a marathon? I don't get. Oh, by the way, just a reminder, because the name Dan's flashed up on the screen. Joe McGrath, coming in on Thursday, hopefully. 88 tomorrow. He's coming in on Thursday. Oh, is it 88 today? It's Tuesday. He's coming in on Thursday, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay, so here's a list of what we should be best at and when. Age of 7, learning a new language. I could never get... Catherine's mind is is foreign built? Is language coherent? I could never do it. Could never do it. What does this mean? At the age of 18, your brain processing power is at its peak. It's all downhill from there in terms of brain processing power. You're having a laugh, aren't you? Catherine's complaining that the list is balls. I think you're just abnormal. The peak for remembering names is 22. I have never been able, I've got like facial dyslexia. I've got that, right? And that's an actual thing. Facial dyslexia and remembering people's names. I've started a new thing to try and remember things, right? I've got a new technique for remembering things. When I need to remember something, like there's something I had to remember the other day. Of course I've forgotten it now. That's not even a joke I had, but because I did it. Is what I do is I tap my head 3 times while thinking of it. Why are you laughing at that? That's a good one. So I had to do something the other day. I had to take some money out. I had to get some money out for the kids had done a sponsored skip at school, right? So I had to take some money out of the cash machine, and I'd forgotten the day before, and I only had that evening to do it, so I could leave it on the kitchen worktop so they could take it to school the next day. And it was in the morning, and I wasn't going to get access to a cash machine until later that night. Tap my head 3 times. And then just to make it double safe, I did it again. And you know what? It worked. It worked. It worked. They used to do that thing, didn't they? Dan, I'll come to you in a minute. 0344 499 1000. Men used to tie knots in their handkerchiefs. Now, did men actually used to tie knots in their handkerchiefs to remember things, or was that just in films? I know that men used to make hats out of handkerchiefs. You tie a knot in each corner. Because I remember my Grandad Bill doing it. I'm sure I've got a picture somewhere of my Grandad Bill. I'm sure I haven't imagined this. Of his trousers rolled up to his knees and a knotted hanky on his head. That's a weird, I suppose before sun cream. But a knotted hanky. That's a strange thing to do. I've tried it. I've tried the knotted hanky and it doesn't sit right. I must be doing something wrong. Dan, do you know the technique for making a hat out of a handkerchief?
I have no punchline.
Oh.
Yeah. I've got a topic for you, though, Ian.
Yeah, go on.
Hazelnut, nugget, bit of milk chocolate.
Oh, I see. That was a joke.
Yeah. Earlier you were on about going on the internet and finding out that your favourite thing wasn't there anymore.
No.
Yahoo Games in itself.
Oh, yeah. Yahoo Games, yes. How
about when you go on the internet and find something really old still exists in a format it has no right to anymore?
But par exemplar.
Do you remember ICQ?
I do remember. The very faint bell has gone off. What is that?
It was like a messenger service. It was like Windows Messenger, AOL chat, that kind of thing.
Is Windows Messenger still a thing?
I think they switched it. No, they switched it off a couple of years ago. It's Skype now.
Unbelievable. It's Skype now.
Yeah.
It's Skype now, isn't it? Yeah.
ICQ, you can get it off the App Store. It's still running.
But does it look all modern now?
No, it looks exactly as you would expect.
When you say the App Store, what you mean on your computer?
On my iPhone.
I don't want it on my iPhone. I hate it when you find an app, right? The Uno app. I found it, and you go and click on it. It says that Uno is available for iPhone and iPad. I want to play it on my flipping computer.
Yeah, it's like I would like to play Mario Run on a bigger screen with some keys.
Yes, I don't want everything. This whole phone and tablet thing. I had a tablet briefly. It's just before we moved, I got it. So about 4 years ago. And all I did was I got it, just after I'd had a lumbar puncture and I couldn't move. And I just used it to watch, because it was slightly bigger than a phone. I used it to watch, Archer on, which is this sweary, sexy cartoon. But that was it. And it kept offering me apps like magazines and books I use it because it's like slightly bigger than, I watch telly on it. But I've got rid of it now. I don't like tablets. I don't like phones. I've got a computer. I want to do it on my computer,
type on
Dan.
the tablet. I've got an iPad Mini. I can't type on it. I can't tweet on it.
I got given...
It's unwieldy.
For a job, I got given one of those Microsoft... It's like a sort of tablet, but it's bigger, and you can get a magnetic keyboard to clip onto it, and...
The Surface.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Was that a job that wanted rid of you?
No. It was a job for Microsoft, promoting the Surface. And I said, well, I haven't got one. I don't really know what it does. Oh, don't worry. We'll sort you out with one of those. Those days are long gone, guys. Those days are long gone. Yeah, well. Dan, thank you for that. I think thank you for that. I'm not totally sure. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Now, this is nonsense. Where have they got this from? The age at which you peak at things. 23 is life satisfaction. What? 23? Where's that 23? Actually, no, fair play. I just finished college. I was signing on, getting housing benefit. I was living the life of Riley, watching daytime TV, smoking roll-ups. I was having bought a PlayStation on the Never Never. No, I was having a great time. They're right. Life satisfaction is at 23. When all of my dreams and my hopes were ahead of me and I didn't have any of my monumental failures. Oh, no, yes, I think that's right. 23 is also when women are most attractive to men. Now, that is wrong. I've always been a sucker for the older woman, even as a young man. So no, the 23-year-old... It's never really done it for me. Kath, is this true? 26? That's when you had your best sex? She gave me a look of disgust, raised her eyes, and then looked down at her computer. I'm taking that as a no, then. 28, you're best at running a marathon. 31, you're best at playing chess. Men have their best sex at 32. So you want ideally, you want a 32-year-old man and a 26-year-old woman. No. 30, no, I can't. This is, women earn their most at 39. Kath, is that true, did you? Men earn their most at 48. Understanding people's emotions peaks at 51. No, I can dig that. I'm getting more in tune with people around me and their emotions. I know when I've annoyed Kath because I've made an inappropriate comment about the ridiculous clothes that she's chosen to wear into work today. And I now notice that when I say these things, she gets annoyed and upset by it. Maybe when I'm 52, 51, I won't say these things. I'll have learnt by then not to say, you look like a bag lady. You look like you've been unemployed for the last 3 years, dressed like that. What is that? That looks ridiculous. You look stupid like that. That's a terrible outfit. Mutton dressed as. So maybe when I get to 51, I'll stop saying those things, Catherine, and I'll just think them. And I'll think them and I'll email Ed and we'll have a little chuckle about them. And we'll see, don't know. Oh, hang on. So you have life satisfaction, your peak is at 23, and then it peaks again at 69. Struth. Your vocabulary at 71, happiness with your body at 74. I don't think so, because 74-year-olds are very, very unattractive. They are very unattractive. I can't imagine me looking in a mirror at the age of 74 and going, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all hanging in exactly the right way you want it to hang. I just can't imagine it. Nah, that's a load of guff, that survey. 0344 499 1000. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain Lee.
Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
I'm not going to tell him to put his phone down. Someone's called in. Right. And the way it works, if you never called in a radio show, you did. Me and Kath called a radio show last week, not on this station. A mate of ours was doing a stupid show, and it was fun, and we called in and we got on, and it was thrilling and exciting and nerve-wracking. Everyone who works in phone-in radio should phone in other radio shows and see what it feels like to, particularly if you're the person who answers the phone or one of the people that answers the phone, you should phone in other radio shows to see what it feels like and to see how you are treated, and maybe you are being treated than you treat other callers, or maybe you are worse treated and you don't like the way it feels. It's just an interesting thing to do, and radio hosts should phone in as well to see what it feels like being on the telephone and being the person that is not in control. It's a completely strange, and different experience. How did you find it, Kath? You got a bit of the fear, didn't you? You got your heart was going a little bit, wasn't it?
I got really hot.
Yeah.
And bothered.
I did it I was in my car, I was listening in my car, and I pulled over, and I pulled over without even thinking, and I phoned up and I went on and I said something. It was a really silly, pointless phone-in, and there should be more silly, pointless phone-ins. I don't think he's doing any more, unfortunately. And I did it, and it went just like that. It just went like that. And you got the fear a bit, did you?
I did, and also, it's weird. As you say, it's a different dynamic when you're not in control of the call.
And the person didn't call you back. You had to call back again. You became one of those people.
Callers. No, he said, if you get fed up, put the phone down and we'll call you back.
Oh, okay. They were getting a lot of calls. So
yeah, they were.
But
they were. So I rang up. Because then he did straight to air, and you said to me, phone him up now, so I did.
Yeah.
So I wasn't being that caller, actually. I wasn't persisting like that. But it was weird, and I was trying to be a good caller and letting him have the lines, and all that sort of stuff.
I didn't know I was on the air. I thought I was on the air. Then I was doing a piece. He was asking for your favourite Daves.
Yeah.
It's always a great phone-in. Who are your favourite Daves? And I phoned up, and my gag was, at number 3, it's Dave Benson Phillips. At number 2, it's Dave Benson Phillips. It's number 1. And I was doing it, and I was doing a really good performance. But then I could hear music in the background. I thought, I'm giving him my spiel, and I don't think I'm on the air. And it turns out I was on the air. I put the phone down and I switched the thing on, and because there was a delay, I got to hear my phone call, and I was thrilled. 15-year-old me was like, I've been on the radio. Of course, I'm on the radio 5 nights a week. But it was still, I've been on the radio.
It's different when you're not in control of it, I think.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's interesting how little you can hear on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
I get why listeners tell you stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I was talking to him, it just sounded like I was talking to a bloke on the phone.
Yeah.
You forget that the whole bigness of the radio.
I wonder if there is something in us doing an hour with me on the phone. with me on the phone, I wonder if it would be a different vibe.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we'll try it for half an hour with me presenting the show on the phone, talking to people. It might just create a different vibe, a more intimate vibe. So then it does become, it's an actual phone conversation.
It would be like those old-fashioned chat lines.
Yeah. Party. We'll have a think.
Board call friends.
We'll have a think. Maybe we'll do that. Oh, thank you, Catherine. 0344 499 1000. Dennis is on the line. Good evening, Dennis.
Good evening. You don't get any better, do you?
Sorry?
Yeah, you insult Kathy by saying she looks like a black lady.
Well,
she would look beautiful even if she was in an old tater sack.
It's more which is what she often wears. It's more the smell.
Well, she always smelled nice to me.
Well, that's because you're from both world wars.
Yes.
Yes.
She smelled beautiful. You leave her alone. She's a lovely young lady.
What are you doing sniffing young women, Dennis? That's a bit queer.
Always done it, dear boy, ever since I was about 15 years old.
Well, you want to stop that.
I chase the girls, and unfortunately I still do, but I can't run fast enough to catch them now.
Thank God for that. Is that what you called in for?
No, I just wanted to say, leave her alone. She's a lovely lady.
Thank you, Dennis. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. a fireman. This is a great story. This is what, and I was always a little bit sniffy. The other place I was a bit sniffy of when like you get stories about a terrier stuck down a rabbit hole and like 8 firemen would go and rescue it. You know, we'd get the head of the fire brigade union on. We go, well, this is outrageous that you've wasted how much, and it costs something like 3 or 4 grand. It's about $4,000, I think, every time a fire engine is called out. What was the pigeon? I don't remember the pigeon. Go on the mic. I don't remember the pigeon.
There was an incident. All right, it wasn't a pigeon. It was a dove, but they saved a dove from some netting at a supermarket. And again, they got all the machinery out and stuff. And
it's about three or 4 grand, isn't it? Every time a fire engine goes out.
It was an expensive pigeon.
And I think they sent out two engines and maybe 8 people or something. And we would always tear them apart. And I tell you what changed it for me. I saw a video, I think it's an American video, might be New Zealand, I think it's American, of, it's a brilliant video. There's a duck, right, with 3 ducklings, and she stood by the side of the road, really busy road, like a motorway in America. It's a duck, 3 ducklings, stood by the side of the road by a drain. And there's someone's filming it, right, and then this cop car comes up, and these 2 cops get out. And the duck sort of backs off a bit, but doesn't go too far away from the drain. And you see the cop cars roll up their sleeves, and the cop, and he gets on the floor, and he tries to lift up the drain, and he manages to lift the drain up and get the drain up, and then he reaches down, and he's there it takes him ages, and he's reaching, and he pulls out a duckling. And he goes back. You've seen it, and he pulls out about 6 ducklings, and they have to stop the traffic because one has gone through the pipe to another drain hole. And he goes there, and they pull out about 8 ducklings, and they all find their mum, and the mum sort of looks at the copper, and then they all waddle off through the bushes. It is the best clip I have ever seen. 0344 499 1000, by the way. And I saw that, and I thought, no, that's exactly what our emergency services should be doing. That's exactly what they should be doing. Coppers and the fire brigade rescuing animals is more of that, please. I will never again have a go at a fireman or firewoman or a copper for going out to rescue animals after seeing that duck clip. The pictures for this story are incredible. A fireman, get this is a great story. A fireman saved a dog's life with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Boom! And there's a picture of him doing it. That's exactly what I want from the fire brigade. And it's, what is it? It's a Shih Tzu, so it's only a little dog. It's a Shih Tzu. A fireman saved a dog's... Great headline, K999 lifesaver. A fireman saved a dog's life with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation after finding the pet lifeless in a blaze. Andrew Klein was fighting the fire in Little Nalu's owner's apartment when he found the Bichon Frise Shih Tzu cross. He said, "As soon as I grabbed him, I knew he was unresponsive just by his dead weight." Owner Crystal Lamaran, 35, had been unable to reach Nalu due to flames and smoke at her home in Santa Monica, California. But Andrew said failure was not an option. And it... Firefighters contained the blaze, and once outside, he revived the pet with CPR before attaching an oxygen mask. Kath, your mission: find this fireman. He's called Andrew Klein, Klein. It's Santa Monica, California. Find him and see if we can get him on the show tomorrow night. Let's give this man the hero's welcome that he deserves. before attaching an oxygen mask. And Nalu spent 24 hours recovering in an oxygen chamber before being reunited with his rescuer. Andrew said to see him kissing people and walking around wagging his tail was definitely a good feeling. How good is that? Isn't that brilliant? And it's the best picture. It's the fireman in the full outfit. He's got an axe. You can see he's got an axe strapped to his belt. And it's this dog, and it's I mean, what is that? It's about 1.5 feet long. Tiny little fluffy thing. He's got it on the floor. He's breathing into the dog's mouth. He's giving it the kiss of life. Fair play, man. Fair play. That is brilliant. And there's a picture of the owner. Nearly said the mum. There's a picture of the owner watching him doing it. Isn't that incredible? I love that. More of that, please. If you're watching on Periscope, there's the picture. You can see that. More of that, please. Superb. Stu, I'll come to you in a minute. We'll see if we can track that guy down and see if we can get him on the show tomorrow, because that would be wonderful. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
0344 499 1000. Let's go to Australia and Stu. Good evening, Stu.
Hey, Ian. How you going?
Yeah, very well, thank you, man. How you doing?
I'm awesome, mate. Yeah, so I was sat there, I was listening to you guys talking about how nerve-wracking it is to call in. I was thinking, I've really wanted to call for a long time, back in sort of Three Counties radio time.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, go for it. So I tried to ring, and it wouldn't let me ring because I was here.
Uh-oh.
I texted through to Catherine, and she called me back. So, yeah, here we are.
How long, whereabouts in Australia are you?
I'm in Brisbane.
Right. And how long have you been there for?
I moved over here in February. So I've been here just over a year now. Yeah, I can't really get away from UK radio.
Hang on a minute. I thought you were going to say you've been there for about 10 years. You've got an Australian accent, Stu.
No.
Yes, mate, totally. You've only been there a year, and you've got an Australian... I can hear you're British. I'm getting British, but I'm also... And the Aussie's worn off a little bit, but you sound Australian, mate.
Wow. That's a shock, to be honest. I didn't think that had occurred. I've got two daughters, and the eldest is picking up a bit of a twang, but I didn't think I was.
You've dropped it now. Now that I've mentioned it, it's gone. But honestly, I'm not winding you up. The first minute, you sound Australian. How old are your daughters?
Blimey. I've got one that's 1 and one that's 5.
Oh, mate, yeah, they're gonna be full on Australian. Are you out there for good now? Is that it?
Yeah, we just made the step, and that's it. We sold up in the UK and came here, and yeah.
Why?
Well so far.
Why? What was there something going wrong in England, or was there a promise of something better in Australia?
Not really. We just fancied more of an outdoor lifestyle, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've got 2 little kids, and we just wanted the best for them, and we thought, the climate and the outdoor way of life here is not quite as rat race, really. It's quite chilled out, and it's more based around family life than working, which is a bonus, isn't it? So,
can I ask what you do for a living?
I'm a plumber.
Right. Wow.
So currently, I'm walking around someone's garden trying to look for a water leak at the minute, would you believe? But yeah.
That's incredible. And have they not got... I would have thought they'd... Because Australia's quite strict on who they let in. I would have thought they had enough plumbers over there.
There's quite a lot of jobs on the skills list that they're after. And, I guess, to be honest, without bagging them out too much, they're more interested in being down the beach and surfing, mate, to be honest. The tradies here, they're not too interested, so... Yeah. It's good for me. Come along and work hard. So.
Yeah, I bet. How are you finding it? Have there been any kind of shocks where you've gone, I didn't think it would be like this?
To be honest, not really. I mean, you hear all these horror stories about everything out here's set out to kill you, but it's nothing too major. You know, you get the impression that there's spiders in every hole and snakes in every corner of your house, but you don't see anything like that, to be honest. I've come across a couple of spiders, and I've seen one or two snakes, but it's not really like they portray it in England. The biggest thing here is the heat.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't like that.
I'm a pasty white boy as well, so...
I wouldn't like that. That would do my nut in.
Yeah, you get used to it, I think. I mean, the summer was pretty brutal, I'm not going to lie. But the winter here and the spring and the autumn are just lovely. It's just always sunny and it's blue skies. So yeah, it's nice sunshine state they call it.
Yeah, and what are the schools like for the kids? They got good schools.
They have, yeah, and there's so many to choose from. There's lots of private schools and there's lots of state schools, and they're all good. Obviously, there's some that aren't so good, but we've moved from those areas. We're not in there, so yeah. Private schools here are actually quite cheap too, which is a bit different. In the UK, it's like a lot of money for a private school, whereas here it's like about $5 or $6 grand.
You're slipping back into the Australian accent, isn't that funny? I'm honestly, you are. You're just slipping back into it, and that's obviously your kind of relaxed, your relaxed voice. Now, you've only been there a year, Stu.
I know.
Isn't that funny? I think it's funny the way the brain...
That's really, really weird.
It is. Have a listen back to this and see if you spot it when you listen back, because I just think it's funny how the brain assimilates accents and picks them up and tries to change them. Well, you've called in. How did it feel?
Nerve-wracking, to be honest. I feel all right now, but when I clicked on the button on the link on my phone...
Yeah.
It wouldn't ring, and my heart was going. I was thinking, oh, God.
Isn't it funny?
No turning back, and it didn't ring, and I was like, oh, thank God for that.
But we got you, Stu. We got you. Listen, thank you for calling, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. It was good, wasn't it? It's a funny old thing, phoning in a radio station. That accent, though, I thought he was going to say he'd been there about 7-8 years. Because that was proper Australian. You could hear he was English, but it was Australian. There's a guy... the people who like me listen to me for an hour. People who hate me listen to me for 2 hours. There's a guy called Deplorable Arthur. Just tweeted. When did talk radio become so crap? Over to LBC until the 2 mics. That was tonight. And then we go back to the 9th, round about the same time. Because I can see all his history, you see. I can see his history. Listen to this show. I'll pop back later for the 2 mics. Normally the presenters aren't so irritating. They ought to stop trying so hard to be with it. Talking about me. Okay, then we go back to February, the same time, in the evening. Don't know who the current retard on air is, but I'm back to YouTube until this leftard bile show is over. Not enough callers on. We go back another 2 weeks. Still this time of night. They're all around between 11:30 and 12:30, right? So I don't know how thick you have to be to not realise you keep listening to the same person who you don't like. And you dare to throw the R word at me, you idiot. We go back to the 10th of February. Don't know who the 2 half-witted, bigoted cretins currently on air are, but I'm on CDs until the 2 mics now. Okay. Isn't that funny? There's, and it goes on and it goes on. Mate, here's the thing. Oh, and the 2 mics aren't on tonight. Gutted. Mate, I hate to say it, mate. You've tuned into this show at least 7 times. You've communicated with it 7 times. Okay? You're the idiot. You're the thicko. You're the stupid cretin who keeps tuning into a radio show that you do not like. Here's a tip. Deplorable Arthur. Mondays to Fridays, 10 till 1 at night, they're mine. They're mine for now, and they're mine for at least the next 12 months, right? Don't tune in. Don't go and listen to your CDs. Go and watch YouTube. Go and listen to LBC spouting its hatred. You go and do all of that, okay? Stop tweeting a show that you don't like. Stop listening to a show that you don't like. Are you so stupid that you don't realise you keep listening to the same host who you do not like? You muppet. What an absolute bell. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
The radio show for people who know the best part of the day is the night.
Late Night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
It's 0344 499 1000. It's a funny old world, isn't it? I went moron fishing today on Twitter. It's a great thing to do from time to time. Just seeing what kind of morons are out there. And I posted something that if you know me, and I'm guessing that most of the people that follow me on Twitter are aware of me and are aware of what I do and my political leanings. I posted, from 10 o'clock tonight, should we ban all Muslims from driving cars? Right. So I posted that. Some people got it. Most people got it. Some people didn't get it. Some people didn't. Why would you want to do that? Well, it would make the road safer. What are you talking about? So I would reply, let's look at the facts. What are the facts? Well, a Muslim crashed a car into people in a terrorist attack. So if we banned Muslims from driving cars, then that would be one way to stop that from happening. People are getting really angry. Some people got it. One guy tweeted, humorously, I think, why don't we ban Muslims from bridges? I went, that's an idea. But some people got so offended. So there was one woman who was constantly having a dig, but I didn't realise she was having a dig until about her third or fourth tweet. She said, why don't we, I thought she was, but she was being too oblique. Why don't we ban white men with tiny penises from driving cars? And that was retrospectively, I could see that was a dig at me. I said, well, that's a bit racist. I'm not talking about banning people by colour. Why you get white Muslims? And then she said, why don't we ban has-been comedians? And I said, oh, was the fella that did the attack in Westminster, was he a comedian? And she could see that I wasn't getting it. And she, and there was one guy that was really arguing quite strongly that this was, he said, he started, his opening gambit was, why don't we ban clickbait radio presenters from making dangerous, divisive comments?
There was a flaw in that. You weren't asking him to click on anything.
No, it was no clickbait. I did do a poll afterwards. And then I put forward the idea that maybe we could allow Muslims to drive cars, but only if they were supervised by Christians. Now, this is obviously nonsense. I am aware, though, that there are, of course, people in this profession, people who work at this radio station, that would actually probably like to see Muslims banned from driving cars. Okay, but I think everyone who had a go, and there were only a handful. I didn't keep it up for long. I kept it up about half an hour, and then I got bored and I deleted it all.
I'm really surprised that these people all followed.
They were followers of me. They were followers of me. So you would think that they would have some idea of my political bent, some idea of the act, some idea of what what the show is. But they went for it, and they went for it so beautifully that I was really tempted to do it as a phone-in tonight. I was really tempted to set up a nice piece and come in and do an opening monologue of, you know, how these attacks are on the rise in Europe, and in all the instances where it's been a terror attack, it's been a Muslim man that has done this. And so surely, echoing Trump's line of we're going to ban all Muslims until we know what's going on, can we put a temporary ban on all Muslims driving cars until we know what's going on, until we know we can trust them? And I thought about doing it, and I thought, I don't know what the point of it is, really. But there is something in throwing, because people are they're idiots.
It's to highlight the ridiculousness of the stuff that gets thrown around on Twitter, but also the fact that we've got politicians now talking about we should ban WhatsApp.
That's where it came from.
We should ban Google.
Nadine Dorries and Amber Rudd.
She wants us to rise up against Apple.
Yeah,
but not until after she sent it on her iPhone. Yeah.
And Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, wants WhatsApp. She's against WhatsApp now because this idiot, this no-mark, sent a WhatsApp message just before he did the attack. Well, and I tweeted, well, instead of, and I'm not the first person to tweet this, I'm sure others did as well. Well, instead of banning WhatsApp, why don't we ban cars? Why doesn't she go after the car trade? Because it was the car that did the harm.
Because all these things are tools.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't we ban knives? You know, we can't be trusted with knives. Let's not sell knives to brown people. You get white Muslims. Okay. Let's only sell knives to atheists and Christians, you know. I think there is, I don't know if my nerve is strong enough to do an hour of that because people will hear what they want to hear.
And I still find it staggering. I mean, this goes back to the people who were following you and didn't get that you were doing a thing. We've got people that listen to this, and I don't know what they're listening to, because we can do things like that, and all of us, you know, something completely out of character, and they take it completely on face value.
Maybe tomorrow we'll put it out there, because the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. And this is me being genuine now. It does kind of make sense to say, well, while these attacks are going on, and they are on the rise, they have been happening in Europe, maybe we should, just for like the next 3 months, ban members of the Muslim faith from driving cars. And I mean, then someone said, well, that will create a problem with minicabs and stuff. Okay, well, we don't use minicabs.
At what price? Security?
Yeah. Maybe we do this tomorrow. Maybe we throw this out there tomorrow, because now I'm talking about it, it does kind of make sense, you know. And some said, well, what about Christians? Well, are you saying a Christian's never run someone over by accident? Yeah, of course they have, by accident, but not deliberately. It's only Muslims. 3 months, we don't let them drive cars. We give them free bus passes. I don't know. I'm just kicking this idea around. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to take part in that, you're more than welcome to. I've been hearing a lot today. I don't know. My Russian politics are not so hot.
Nor's theirs.
Well, but I've been hearing a lot today about Putin's rival. Russia's main opposition leader was arrested. Well, this is in the paper from this morning. Today, I think he was in court. Anti-corruption fighter Alexei Navalny was held as he walked to a demo in Moscow. He later tweeted, "Guys, I'm fine," and urged people to keep up the protest. Why would you be Putin? Why would you be in opposition to Putin? Here's my prediction, right? Alexei Navalny, he'll be dead by Christmas. He will be dead by Christmas. I guarantee. Why would you bother? Why would you even bother going up against Putin? The mad, sexually repressed. I feel uncomfortable even saying this stuff, because I could be dead by Christmas. His agents are everywhere. They are everywhere. But to actually be in Russia and to put your hand up and say, yeah, I think Putin is bent in terms of being corrupt, and I'm going to stand against him. You might as well just say, could you shoot me now, guys? Could you arrange it so it looks like I've committed suicide now, please, guys?
Unless
yes,
he's a puppet.
Whoa.
to give some semblance of a democracy. So it looks, a bit busier there at the top.
Well, they've arrested him.
Yeah, but...
They've arrested him. I don't think there's... Because Putin...
He doesn't actually care, does he? How obvious it is.
What is Putin's job? Is he... Because Is he Prime Minister? President?
President, I think. Let's check.
I don't think he is president now, because he was president, and you can only serve 2 terms, right? And president is where the power is. But
president.
All right, okay. What was he before that?
He was Prime Minister.
Right, that was it.
From 1999 to 2000.
And then, so Prime Minister had the power, right? So he was Prime Minister and he had the power. And then he changed the rules so that he could become President, and then made it so that the President was more powerful than the Prime Minister, so that he could stay in power forever.
Hang on a second, because he went Prime Minister,
right?
Then President from 2000 to 2008, then Prime Minister from 2008 to 2012, and during his second term as Prime Minister, he was Chairman of the ruling United Russia Party.
Yeah. He just keeps flipping and flopping.
Back and forth.
He keeps flipping and flopping and doing what he wants to do. So why would you then put your hand up and go, I'm going to stand against him because I think he's...
He's also in the KGB.
Who?
Putin.
Yeah, well, of course he is. Of course he is. He's a killer. He's a psychopathic killer. I wouldn't want to get involved with that. Speaking of people I would not want to get involved with, Elton John. I like Elton John. And there's been all this talk recently. Elton John is going to retire and stuff. He celebrated his 70th birthday.
Gosh.
With his kids, of course, in grand style, and scotched any rumours he is thinking about retiring. The star was joined by an array of celebrities as he was honoured at a party evening at Red Studios in Los Angeles, California. Stevie Wonder, Lady Gaga and Ryan Adams all performed at the event, hosted by actor Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe had a thing, didn't he, that was filmed?
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 15. I know R. Kelly had 15. Maybe she was 16. R. Kelly had sex with a 15-year-old girl and urinated on her. That's not libelous, that's a fact. We know that to be a fact.
Sex tape.
Rob Lowe.
16-year-old.
16, well done. Fair play, Rob, in that case. More power to your elbow, sir. Sir Elton's longtime writing partner, Bernie Taupin, 66, told the Mirror the singer has no intention of stopping performing. Good. Because you remember, in the 80s, when, like, the stars of the 60s, there was sort of a bit of a resurgence in 60s music. So, like, McCartney and the Monkees and, the Who stopped in about 82. But a lot of 60s bands kind of had a resurgence, and everyone was joking about these pop stars in their early 40s. Going, their early 40s, blimey, ridiculous. And then
Strolling Bones.
Yeah, and then it became their 50s. And now they're in their 70s, right? And they're still going. If McCartney's playing near you, honestly, he's lost a bit of the high register, but his voice is nowhere near as bad as people will have you think. He's got a new album coming out, and I can't wait for it, because the last few have been brilliant. The last Monkees album, brilliant. The last Rolling Stones album, I'm not a fan of them, but it got really good reviews. They're in their 70s, and they're still doing it, and show no sign of stopping. McCartney won't stop until he dies.
Well, it's clearly not about the money. They could have walked away years ago and had probably a happy old time, never having to worry about money ever again, doing whatever they wanted to. But they clearly love playing. If McCartney stops, that's what will kill him. If he stops. If he's like a shark, he's got to keep moving. And we would, some of the best shows I've seen have been men in their 70s. The Monkees, Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, McCartney was he was 69 maybe when I saw him, but maybe he was 70, but they know it, and they can do shows for like 2.5 hours, and because they've got that back catalogue, they've got the hits. They've got all the hits to fill a show that long. Tell you who I found really impressive, Dennis the Choreo, and he's not as old as that. He's 67.
Yeah.
And he takes the mickey out of himself, saying that he's a bit of a mover on the stage and everything. But flipping heck, he kept going all the way through that performance. It was brilliant.
That voice, he keeps moving, and Elton John, and I don't know Elton John, but I know people who know Elton John, and I have been at a couple of things where Elton John has been there. He was sat down and people were getting some pictures. I was there with my eldest boy and I went, Elton, do you mind if I get a picture? And I grabbed my son and I pushed him next to Elton John, and Elton John said, yeah, no, of course. And I took a picture. My son didn't have a clue who he was.
I get the feeling Elton John would be a bit upset if people didn't want his picture.
No, he made the mistake of sitting down for 5 minutes. He should have kept moving, and everyone was going up. And I thought, do you know what? I wouldn't normally, but this is too good an opportunity to miss. Good on you, Elton John. Keep going, sir. Keep going, sir. That's it. Well, that's it. It's done. Tonight from 10 o'clock, we're going to have Jimmy Tarbuck, and we'll be asking the question, which I think no one has dared to ask, and maybe we should be asking. Is it time that we banned all Muslims from driving in this country? See you tonight at 10.
Talk Radio. Talk and entertainment across the nation.
Talk Radio.
Give it some lip.